Yo, what's going on? Welcome to Cleave to Antiquity. My name is Ben, and welcome to another crazy show. I'm filming in my side room because my AC is still busted. I got them coming out Wednesday to try to work on it, but until then, I'll be streaming from this room. I got a crazy show for you today. Alex Soren is going to be tuning in. He's going to be up here doing some call-ins with me, and we're going to be discussing a couple of different things. We're going to discuss the Candace Owen situation. We're going to be taking some call-ins on that as well. I also want to lay out my position. I feel like this particular situation has been crazier than any of the other recent debates. I don't know if there's a bunch of bots or if people are really that tied into the Candace sphere or whatever the case may be. But I've gotten absolutely insane responses to very simple, nuanced takes on this entire situation. So I want to take some calls. I want to see why it is you guys feel the way you feel and kind of break down, I don't know, some of my thoughts on why maybe people are jumping to conclusions on some of this stuff. So I wanted to share something. So I posted this video the other day, maybe 2 days ago, and it's went pretty viral. So this was let me see if we can find this real quick. This was 2 days ago, and I posted this. It was kind of like tongue in cheek. It was kind of tongue in cheek post here. So this was one of my shorts. I said, I was wrong. I'm sorry. And it got about 250,000 views. It went pretty viral. People were responding to it. They were crashing out. They were calling me a TPUSA shill. They were calling me Zionist. They were calling me a MAGA supporter. They were calling me a Fed slopper. They were calling me all sorts of stuff. But notice, I didn't necessarily lay out an entire argument within this short. I just highlighted one crazy thing that Candace Owens had said. Specifically, that the CIA had taken ancient Sumerian technology and time traveled to see Charlie Kirk in the future. This is what people are crashing out over. This is what the Candace cult is crashing out over. And you know what's insane? I've gotten literal schizo responses from people who are actually Orthodox as well. I don't understand where is the discernment? I can completely get not believing the official narrative. I can completely get that. I could get maybe thinking he was spun up on Discord by the feds, or spun up on Discord even maybe by Israel, or spun up on, whatever, by these various foreign or domestic groups. I could get believing that as a theory. What I don't understand is why Candace Owens is your champion when she's literally just flooding the zone with slop. She's flooding the zone with schizo theories that aren't even close to being viable. Okay? This is the same woman, by the way, that in this debate backtracked on her claims on Erica Kirk. The same woman that in this debate backtracked on her claims about having evidence that Israel was behind it. So two of her major claims, she backed out of these 30 minutes within the debate. Same woman that claimed that the CIA was using ancient Sumerian technology to time travel and look at Charlie Kirk in the future, or posited that maybe that is the case. The same woman that was speculating a beekeeper, or rather bee farmer, subversion theory, saying that bee farmers or whatever are somehow tied to schools, and all this bee language is a code name to subvert children in Utah schools. And that's what happened with Tyler Robinson, or these lone gun, which, by the way, she contradicts herself because she no longer thinks it's Tyler Robinson that did it. So she's just flooding the zone with whatever crap she thinks can stick to the wall. So what I don't understand is why people are actually out there defending Candace. Look, let me be very clear. If you're new to this channel or whatever the case may be, I want to lay out my positions. I am Anti-Zionist. I do not support TPUSA. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not. Do I think he's done a better job than maybe Harris would have done? Absolutely. 100%. But I'm not happy that he ran on a no new wars platform, failed to deliver on that, and then basically sold us out to Israel. I'm not happy about any of that. So I'm anti-Zionist. I'm not a fan of TPUSA. I am not MAGA. Okay. But I still think Candace Owens is not the person you should be looking to for these insane theories. I think personally, I don't think it's any kind of concerted theory. I think she's just a cutthroat corpo upstart. Like she's just out there trying to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. But she's created this environment where people with seemingly normal opinions on this situation, like, hey, I do believe it's Tyler Robinson, but I think perhaps maybe he was spun up by the feds on Discord, or maybe he was, maybe a foreign interest took part in this. Like those would be kind of normal positions. But in addition to this, she's throwing out 50,000 different other theories just to see what would stick at the wall. That's literally it. So she's flooding the zone. So every schizo theory is seemingly valid. And anybody who tries to counter signal Candace Owens is now like an enemy. You've got people that are claimed to be Orthodox that have attempted to dox me for calling out the fact that Candace Owens is a crazy person. This is kind of like where we've gotten to. You've gotten to the point where you have Orthodox people disowning other Orthodox people, like disavowing them because they've criticized Candace. Why is this? I think a lot of people are like jumping to conclusions. Like if you are anti-Candace, you're somehow a Zionist TPUSA shill or something along these lines. So I just want to lay that out there. Those are my positions. I'm not a Zionist. I don't support TPUSA. I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm conservative. I'd consider myself right wing. I support Fishback. So, I mean, do your worst. But anyway. Yeah, it's over. Supporting BB. It's over. It's over. So now when I'm thinking about the prompt, I'm thinking about what actually happened in the debate. By the way, go ahead and share the stream so we can get some people in here to call in. I know Alex Soren's going to be tuning in just a little bit. But thinking about the debate and thinking about the prompt, I want to objectively lay out what I think happened, who I think won. Obviously, I think Andrew did a better job at doing what he set out to do, which was to get her to back down from her claims on Israel and to see if she could provide any, or not necessarily back down, provide evidence for these claims, which she didn't. Provide evidence for the Foreign Legion claims, which she didn't. Provide evidence for the Erica Kirk thing, which she didn't. I think he did a good job by getting her to backwalk the three major claims that she was making throughout her entire podcast career around the Kirk situation. I think he actually accomplished that mission. Now, could it have been Israel? I personally think maybe. Tyler Robinson could have got spun up by a foreign interest. It might not have even been Israel. Maybe it was the feds. Maybe it was, one of these other groups. Do I have positive evidence to support that? No, but there sure are a lot of really weird, I wouldn't even say they're a coincidence at this point, but if you were active on Discord from like 2018 to 2021, especially just prior to January 6th, you'd know there were a lot of like weird, glowy psyop stuff going on that platform where they're trying to spin you up and get you to go out. Oh, you got to go do the Jan 6 thing, or you got to go do the Unite the Right rally. They're trying to like do these entrapment ops and things like this. And the January 6th thing, I mean, they had they released later after the fact, they had tons of feds at that event. So I don't think that's too far from a possibility that maybe this is what happened with Robinson. Now, do I think the CIA has Sumerian time traveling technology or whatever the case may be? Absolutely not. This is a schizo theory. So this is what I'm talking about. You take things that could be viable and then you mix them with a bunch of crap. This is called flooding the zone. And this is exactly what Candace Owens has been doing. What's up, dude? Welcome to the show, bro.
What's going on? I got something in my teeth.
Welcome.
All right, there we go. I just ate lunch, so.
Yeah, welcome, dude. Thanks for swinging by.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, man.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I was just talking about the Candace Owens situation because I've gotten some like insane reactions to this. Why do you think people are reacting so negatively anytime you criticize Candace? Even if you hold like a nuanced position, like you're like, yeah, maybe I don't buy the official narrative. I don't support TPUSA. I'm not a Zionist. Like, I'm not doing any of these things. But you hold a position and you're like, yeah, but Candace Owens seems like she's flooding the zone with crap.
Yeah, I think that people appreciate what she stands for, which I think all of us can agree with. Yes, we should not buy wholesale the government narrative all the time. We should question the government narrative. Problem is with Candace in her case is that she's taken it way too far. And Andrew is simply calling her on that. It's like, hey, you can't go around saying that, foreign countries, the French Foreign Legion, Israel, and Erica Kirk, that they're complicit in this thing when you don't really have affirmative evidence to prove that case. So I think people appreciate what she stands for, as do I, in the terms of questioning the government. But in this case, she's taken it way too far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I think at this point, her involvement in the entire situation, she's taken something that really should have been about Charlie and she's made it about herself. She's made a lot of money off of this particular scandal. So it's taking the death of a friend, monetizing it, and then trickling out random conspiracy theories time and time again. Some as benign as, well, maybe there was a trap door and somebody popped up from the trap door. I remember when that happened initially. Or maybe it wasn't the guy up on the roof. Maybe it was like an exploding microphone or something. Or like whatever. Like these are like this is speculation. Let's see what happens. I remember when she, at the very beginning, she was like, this guy nodded his cap. That guy must have been in on it. Turns out that was Frank Turek, the guy that does like Christian apologetics.
Yeah, so, the very vanilla milquetoast Christian apologists.
Yeah, exactly. Like Frank Turek is like plotting Kirk's unaliving. So I mean, she's throwing crap at the wall to see what will stick. She's done stuff like, say, like beekeepers are like you saw that, like the beekeepers are like
yes, the bee farmers.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I want to highlight who really wins in this, because when you've set up an environment where anybody who questions your questioning triggers your like friend enemy distinction.
Yeah, they're in on it too, naturally.
Yeah, like you're questioning my questioning. You're now my enemy. It doesn't matter if you're Orthodox. It doesn't matter if you're like at your own local parish. Doesn't matter if you're friends with a guy. Disown him. Politics over everything. Don't you know this? More like schizo theories over literally everything. Whereas you can't just have a discussion and be like, hey, what's your position on this? Let's see exactly what you think is viable. So
yeah, well, I posted like a few more, maybe more than necessary posts about this on X, on Twitter, and every single response I get, even to the video, is like, oh, I guess, well, you're bot and you're like in Andrew's pocket or something. And it's like, I provided reasons not only in my live reaction, but also in these posts, and they don't want to engage with the reasons. And I think there's really, like you said, a friend enemy distinction where they're playing teams here, instead of like, I always say it on my channel. Here, we look at reasons. I don't care like what your conclusions are, as long as you have reasons that bring you to that, right? And sound reasons, ideally. But when all you do is you jump to conclusions based on teams, that means that you've turned your rational thinking faculty off, and that's not good.
Correct.
You have to use your rational reasoning faculty.
And what's interesting is a lot of people think that the positions that we're holding is just because Andrew Wilson is Orthodox, so we have to defend the Orthodox guy. I don't know if they remember that he had a defending Trump debate, and we were pretty critical of his position in that Trump debate, because I said good on Rachel Wilson for defending Andrew, because that's her husband. Like that's even when he's wrong, She should defend him. You know what I mean?
That is a justifiable team's ethic. That's, yes, you're married, you're on the same team.
Correct. But I mean, even though we disagree with him on that one thing, it doesn't mean, oh, well, you know what? Now I'm gonna completely cut somebody off because they disagree with one point in politics. It's absolutely insane. I mean, I get his position on that though, because I think if Harris had won, it would have been a way worse situation than we're in right now.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't mean I think he did a good job, right?
Yeah.
Talking about Trump, I don't think Trump did.
Yeah, I was pretty open in my criticism about Andrew in that debate. Where just like, I think just debate wise, I think there were some better decisions he could have made when it came to strategy, also framing the debate. And I still am not convinced that like he did well in that debate. Right. That said, he did stomp Pikachu. He stomped like green Muslim Lantern. I was about to say Green Lantern. He stomped Green Lantern, Muslim Lantern over there. And in this Candace debate, it was pretty easy. He just presented a few evidences that you see in the court as well, throughout the preliminary hearing and in the filings. And Candace just didn't present anything. So she has these huge allegations that the French Foreign Legion, that Israel, that Erica, they're all complicit in this thing. Okay, what is your evidence of that, Candace? Nothing. Nada. Zip. A receipt that is redacted, that we don't know is connected to Tyler Robinson, and that the restaurant says it is not evidence of Tyler Robinson being there. So yeah. She also admitted that she didn't bother going to corroborate that receipt. It's like basic entry-level stuff.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. She presented a lot of evidence that would show that the official narrative can be suspect. This is why I think when you examine the prompt, at least like how it was set up by Candace's request, she requested overwhelming to be included in the prompt. That was her request. And they said that at the beginning. So I think when you're including this term overwhelming, I don't necessarily know if either side met that bar. I think that was kind of like a fail prompt. But I think if you were to look at what he set out to do at the beginning, which was get her to backtrack on a couple of her key claims that she kept pressing over and over again, claiming that she had hardline evidence for, and then she even claimed that she would come into this debate with that evidence and present it. I don't think she necessarily did that, and I think he achieved his objective within maybe the first 30 minutes of the debate, because she just conceded that immediately. She said, "No, I don't have evidence. No, I don't want to get into a legal bind." That was her claim.
Yeah, which is like, well, then she probably should have thought about that before making all these allegations that we're asking her to defend. That said, I think you brought up a good point that Andrew framed this debate in the opening as he has to show there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson unalived Charlie Kirk, and Candace has to show overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was a patsy. Now, if that's true, if that's what they agreed to, Andrew got a lot closer to that goal than she did. Also, when they were asked to clarify, she said there's a 0% chance that Tyler Robinson is the one who unalived Charlie Kirk, whereas Andrew left some room. He's like, I think it's overwhelming, but it's, possible. He said 75 to 85% that Tyler Robinson was the one who unalived Charlie Kirk. So, I mean, if we're approaching it with these standards, arguably Andrew got pretty close. But I don't think you can really make a case that Candace got remotely close to her 0% standard. Not even close.
I think what she did was she provided ample evidence that would get you to question the official narrative, but no positive evidence that would get you to support an alternative narrative. Yeah. And that's really my position on that. So I want to be clear to the audience, because I do want to take some call-ins on this. My position isn't necessarily that, according to the prompt, either side provided overwhelming evidence. Okay, that's not my necessary position. My position is Candace is a crazy person. She did not provide positive evidence for her case, positive evidence for any one theory. So I'd be willing to hear what y'all have to say about that, and then maybe we can discuss Candace Owens. I want to be clear. It is a-okay to doubt the official narrative. That's not what I'm not saying. You have to, you need to believe the feds. Believe the feds immediately, no matter what. That's not what I'm saying. So don't get me wrong. Nor am I saying I support TPUSA or Zionism. I'm anti both of these things. I will say this. I like TPUSA when they're debating liberals. I do not like their Zionist tendencies. So I can have a nuanced take when it comes to them as well. So, all right. Anyway, I'm gonna put a I'm gonna start getting some of y'all. If y'all want to come up and discuss, feel free. I'll also later on be taking some discussions on Sola Scriptura, because there was a post I made. By the way, before I even get into that, I just want to share this, because ultimately, who wins when you flood the zone with slop theories? Who wins when you flood the zone? Now we're never going to know. I would really like to know. I would like to know if Israel was involved. I would like to know if the feds were involved. I would like to know if the CIA did something. I would like to know these things. Okay. And I think it's a possibility. Maybe one or all of the above were involved. There's a possibility. There's a lot of very suspicious things around this case, but we'll probably never know that now, because Candace has cultivated a multi-million-dollar industry of people peddling slop, complete slop, from bee farmers to Sumerian time machines to Charlie Kirk was in an X-Men institute. Did you see that? Charlie Kirk was in an X-Men institution. When he enters into rooms, the lights flicker.
He's a time traveler also.
Oh my goodness.
He's just super powered.
It's nuts. And watch, no matter how much I lay out my position, I guarantee people it's not going to stick in their heads. And they're just gonna like friend enemy distinction it, because they want to support that. They want us to support.
Well, yeah, because you just believe the government, Cleve. I mean, that's true. I mean, you just whatever they say. We just believe it. That's it.
I just believe Bibi Netanyahu. I'm paid by TPUSA. That's all it is. You know, Bibi's my best friend. I'm just shilling for Andrew Wilson. I'm just shilling for whatever other, that's all it is. But I want to show who actually wins. Who wins is the insane left. Because regardless of what position I personally, I support James Fishback because he's anti-Zionist. I support James Fishback. I literally fed James Fishback's campaign that, what do you call it? The endorsement that John Kiriakou gave. I was the one that sent that to them. I super chatted John Kiriakou and asked him personally, do you support James Fishback? And he said, yes. I sent that to his campaign, because I want the guy to win. I don't like Zionist Byron Donalds. Okay. So while I think we should be putting our efforts toward, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not saying this is an obligation on the Orthodox or whatever. I know normally we talk about Orthodoxy related stuff. While I think we should be putting our all of our effort behind these America First candidates that are not going to sell our country out to foreign interests, I do think there's a very high possibility the next election is going to be between a neocon and a communist. I really do think that's going to be the next election. It's probably going to be like it's probably going to be like another Harris and who's that commie guy? You know what I'm talking about? That ran
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I think they said Harris, Bernie Sanders. They were floating that as a possible ticket. So you're literally probably going to have like neocon versus communist for this next election cycle, which I mean, it's between a turd, a turd and like diarrhea. Like which one are you gonna, yeah, which one are you gonna get? I personally think we buy time the next 4 years. We set up a strong America First base. We get people that are like conservatives that are anti-Zionist into the local offices. They get a little bit of they do their time there, and then they can get floated as the next potential presidential candidate. That's just my opinion. But when we flood the zone with slop, when we take the focus off of the individuals that at least are very presently involved, you could say, well, don't you, Cleve, you're so foolish. Don't you know on both sides they're both controlled by Israel? Like you could make that argument, sure. But on one side, I would say communists, what would you rather have, another Bolshevik revolution, or would you rather have status quo? So status quo, like, yeah, but we're tired of the status quo. So you'd rather have the Bolsheviks? You remember what happened to us under the Bolsheviks? You might want to study some history and see. Like, I don't know. I'd rather buy some time to get the America First guy in than sell my country to communists that are going to unalive me and my family. But anyway, this is who really wins. This is Hassan Piker endorsing Candace Owens because she's taking the focus off of the left.
You know, I wouldn't say that I'm on her side on this issue. I am, let's just say I'm spiritually on the sidelines on this. Because, like, on the one hand, my brain tells me something entirely different than what my heart is championing, if you know what I mean, okay? If you're picking up what I'm putting down. On the one hand, I want to be logical. I want to be rational about this case. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking to myself, I can't speak out against this queen. I mean, I can't speak out against this queen because this is a queen that successfully and single-handedly undermined the Republican initiative to martyrize Charlie Kirk and use that example to crack down on political dissent. She dropped a grenade on the discourse. So I'm with her. It's hard. It's hard for me. My brain says, no, it's probably Tyler Robinson. But my heart says, go, Candace, go. Keep cooking. You know? Does that make sense? I'm on the sidelines. I don't even want to course correct. I don't.
Yeah, this guy's doing everything but fighting Sam Hyde. Did you see that when he was doing the celebrity boxing matches?
No, I didn't.
Sam Hyde was like, at the end of it, he called out Hassan Piker. He's like, Hassan Piker, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
In the ring? He's like, no.
Yeah, Hassan is not gonna. He's not gonna get in the ring there.
He's not gonna get in the ring with Sam Hyde.
No, Sam Hyde would destroy him.
Dude, yeah, the Candy Man. The Candy Man, dude. That was that was so classic. I would pay good money to watch Hassan Piker box Sam Hyde. Hold on, let me see. Candy Man calls out Hassan. I'm gonna play this clip real quick.
You want to call out in the heavyweight division?
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that, Hassan Piker. I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house.
Or in the ring?
No, in real life. I'm going to stalk him and become obsessed with him and wear his makeup and his dress and use his skin as a coat like the ancient Irish did.
Well, that's your winner, sir.
He's like, well, okay.
Moving on.
Yeah. Sam Hyde is a freaking legend, dude. But anyway, yeah. So I want to start taking some call-ins. So I'm dropping the link in the chat. Until then, yeah, I mean, I think, like, look, I get the point some people are making in the chat. Some people are saying, like, oh, I'd rather focus on this. Oh, but that's like a false dialectic. Is it really, though? Like, do you really think that we're going to have another option this next election cycle for the presidential election? Now, I mean, granted, maybe we have some kind of a miracle and we can get an anti-Zionist candidate in there to win the primary and push them past that. If that's possible, full send in that direction. But as soon as they lose that primary, that's your options. I mean, that's pretty much what I could see happening.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. I don't think you're too far off. I think in terms of options that we have, they're going to be slim.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, like, I get the perspective that some people have. They're like, oh, I'd rather focus on you know, local stuff. I'd rather focus on whatever the case may be. But at the same time, really, if you're just saying, like, oh, I'm hand waving myself out, that's, I mean, and you're a conservative, you're basically saying I'm voting communist. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, that's the way it works. You're saying I'm going to abstain from voting because at least my conscience won't be harmed. You know what I mean? Like, I get it in principle. But what do you think that is in practice? That's one less conservative vote that would have prevented, one of these other candidates from coming out.
Right.
What's up, dude?
That was quick. I just joined.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, guys? I saw the link. I was like, okay, so I saw your title and it says about the Candace Owens, which I genuinely think that their fans are really, really like low IQ, because I'm seeing like the reactions from the post. I'm just like, what is going on, bro? And then you also say about the third part of that title, it says Jesus and whatnot situation gets worse. And it does. I don't know if you've already touched on that topic yet, but I do want to just give my 2 cents on the whole Candace and Andrew Wilson debate, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I didn't really look at it from like a political standpoint. I looked at it more so like as a debate entertainment standpoint. And I was just like, from a debate standpoint, I really think that Andrew had a better case. But in terms of like the masses, in terms of like what feels good in the appeal, I think Candace really does do a very, very good job of at least like garnering the masses to her side. I mean, Candace has a bigger following than Andrew. I think both you, Cleve, and Alex will agree to that. Like, we already know, like, going into it, that the Candace fans were gonna be like,
yeah,
she won. I mean, like, she did. She 100% won. But in terms of like a debate tactic, I think Alex, when you covered it, I think Jay Dyer also, on his coverage of the debate, he used your clips of it as like from a lawyer's perspective.
He did. It's true.
But
thank you, Jay.
Yes, shout out to Jay. But he was even like conceding a lot of points to Candace, but not in the sense of the actual going of the debate into the point of Candace, but he was more so saying like, well, yeah, I mean, like, you can question these things, but still the link from, I don't know, maybe you guys can answer this question. Maybe I'm the dumb one, but like from Candace's evidence to her conclusion and Andrew Wilson saying, where's the link between these two? Has that been answered?
Nope.
She gave
No.
a lot of points that would cast doubt on the official narrative. And I think some of those points are very good. And the official narrative is extremely suspect. Like for instance, them digging up the crime scene and then putting up like pavers over it. That's super suspect to me. But does that positively point towards any one of these particular theories, including let's look at a couple that she's floated. Exploding Mike. Just would anything that she presented in this debate point towards that? Absolutely not. It doesn't make any sense. Or time traveling Kirk, or he was in an X-Men facility, or the beekeepers situation, doing stochastic stuff with the kids, and then psyoping them, and then that's what sent forth Tyler, was this stochastic terror operation run by Utah bee farmers. It's all code, dude. It's all code. So did she really put forth any positive evidence for any one of these claims, including French Foreign Legion and Israeli involvement on the ground the day of? She just said, well, the French Foreign Legion happened to be in the area. That is not enough positive evidence to make a definitive tie to one of these groups.
Yeah.
Speculate.
There's a lot of people in the area.
Right. Now
So
you can speculate. And I think it's absolutely fine to say like, hey, maybe Israel did this. Hey, maybe the feds did this. Hey, maybe they spun him up. Maybe they pulled him into a Discord chat. Maybe they said because he was like a furry or whatever. He was like dating a furry, that dude. So maybe they were like, hello, my fellow furry. How would you like to, don't you hate Charlie Kirk? Don't you hate Donald Trump? Orange man bad. It's like what the feds were trying to do with conservatives prior to the Jan 6 stuff. And we know they were there. We know for a fact they were there. We do have positive evidence they were there because they admitted it. So it's like worlds apart in terms of these claims. But what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I think that's true.
Alex,
I mean,
my bad.
I whatever. Like, I think that there's like that connective tissue is not there. That's what I was left wanting for in my entire reaction to the debate was like, okay, she has these objections. Like, just because the gun was there doesn't mean that he did it. Okay, but there's surveillance footage showing that he has an object shaped like a rifle, that there's a guy on top of this building with a direct line of sight to Charlie, and he left, that suicide note, which was corroborated by his trans lover. But what's Lance's name? What, Lance
Twigs. Yeah, Twigs.
Yeah, so the testimony, I think, from Twigs is like kind of a nail in the coffin. She tried to wave that away as if saying, oh, but he had use immunity. So what? What's the connection there between you? So he said that he's not going to be, the agreement is that he's not going to be prosecuted for the things that he testifies to, so that he can testify freely. That's it. How is that going to affect what he says?
Mm-hmm.
He still has a lot of incentive to, keep his boyfriend away from the electric chair, metaphorically.
Yeah. Good grief.
There's also a clip of Candace going like, why are we going transcendental? Because I love Andrew Wilson's entire debate tactic is just like, I'm going to call your paradigm into question. That link between her evidence to the conclusion that she did. Is Cleve mogging? Stop trying to clip.
Cleve doesn't stop mogging.
But this idea of Candace asking, why are we going transcendental? Because that's the entire point of the debate. Yes, the idea of Andrew Wilson was basically saying, hey, overwhelmingly, the evidence points to Robinson being the shooter. But Candace's entire stance was basically just putting that into question. And then she also had her own conclusion, which then Andrew was like, where do you get that link? That's what Alex was like, where's the connective tissue between the evidence that Candace put forward and the conclusion that she gave that, oh, all of these like beekeepers. And then there was a clip that Jay mocked about saying, oh, Candace basically said, there's a lot of people that have the same colored t-shirts. And boom, that's the FBI. And then Jay was just like, bruv, tourists, freaking students all have matching t-shirts. Yeah. Is this all of, are they all part of the so just like, even if Jay, who's like super into conspiracies, is like, what is Candace Owens talking about? If you even get Jay questioning what you're talking about, I think at that point, everybody just lost the plot. And I saw a comment, because I recently just posted about this on my Instagram, who commented like, I wasted 3 hours of my life watching this debate. Is that also what you guys feel?
I do feel like it didn't really move the needle much, except for getting Candace to acknowledge that she doesn't actually have the evidence for tying Erica to being complicit in the death of Charlie Kirk. She doesn't actually have any positive evidence for that. And then also acknowledging that she doesn't have positive evidence for the French Foreign Legion involvement. She was trying to push this narrative that was like the French Foreign Legion, Israel, and Erica were working together to try to, do this op on Kirk. So, like, she didn't say it in such explicit terms, but she was saying Erica Kirk is complicit. Now, she backtracked that in the debate. She said, no, actually, Erica is just complicit in, what did she say? In pushing the narrative that Robinson did it, which is obviously not the intent and not what she said on her show time and time again. There were even clips that were played where she was saying like straight to jail. Erica Kirk needs to go straight to jail. And she's like, oh, that's just like a phrase. That's just like a term we use. It's like monopoly, like hee hee. Like, yeah, I don't buy that. So I think in that sense, I think it did do well to demonstrate to anybody that was actually paying attention that sometimes she overextends in her claims, which is exactly the extent of my critique. She overextends, but not only does she overextend, she floods the zone with bogus theories. This would be like if you really want to get to, like, for instance, let's say for the sake of argument, the CIA actually did like do this thing. Like, they didn't like that. Like, they're plugged in with Israel. They don't like that Kirk was flipping on Israel. And I think it's possible. And let's say they really did coordinate with a foreign entity to get this thing done. Okay. I want to be careful with my terminology so I don't get TOS. But let's say that does happen. And you want to get to the truth of that claim. You know what makes it a lot more difficult? And you know what I would want to do? if I was working for the CIA, I would want to flood the zone with a zillion and one bogus claims. I'd want to flood it with so many theories that it would take 1,000,000 years to go through all this tangled web of nonsense. So what I do think is suspicious. Now, somebody floated to me, they said, and I know we have some people waiting to call in that probably disagree. So just give me one moment. I'll finish what I'm saying here. Somebody was floating to me. They said, don't you think it's suspicious that Candace is flooding the zone and it makes it impossible for anybody with a more plausible theory to step forth and present their case? Said, yes, I do think that's suspicious, but I don't think her doing this is a fed op. Somebody was trying to suggest that. I just think she's like a cutthroat, like opportunist. I think she's just she's like a cutthroat opportunist. She wants to get the clicks. She wants to get the views. I think she is like, she has this like persecuted mindset because she worked for Daily Wire and they treated her like crap. So she's like, I got to do whatever I got to do to succeed. And her audience likes that. They eat that up. They're like, yes, queen, like, yes, slay, like go and take down the system. But meanwhile, she's doing stuff like this. Like her live views are botted. Her regular lives get like 120,000 consecutive viewers at the same time. And I don't like Hassan at all. I think this guy's scum of the earth. He should be deported, in my opinion. But he is absolutely correct about this. And I could get further into the details of why I think that's the case with this gentleman here. But he is correct about Candace Owens botting her views. So watch this real quick.
You're watching. Look.
By the way, foul language alert. If you have children watching this, mute this. I don't know why you would have children watching this, but if you do, mute this.
Look at this. Look at my chat. Look at my chat versus Candace Owens's. Nah, slow mode or not, doesn't matter.
Is that this was done?
Dude, come on,
after
my
the fact.
fucking chatters
Maybe
are
someone had a
typing
friend down
in
at the
her
county
chat.
clerk.
Look,
I should also
her
add
entire
that
chat
I
is
could not find
my
any
fucking
sources
chatters.
there
Her
alone.
entire
This
chat is
is
my
something
chatters.
that doesn't exist.
Do you
I
think
can find
a
some possibility.
36,000
But
person
Marblehead, I would like to
live
say,
viewership channel would be capable of rating another content creator's live chat when they have 213,000 viewers? It's completely fake. It's just my
Yeah, literally my chat moves faster than Candace's chat when I have 1,000 something live viewers consecutive. And that happens. That happened when you were on the show last time, Aaron.
Yeah.
It was like 1,400 or something. But anyway. So, I mean, I think that's suspicious. I think personally, she's just like a cutthroat, like corpo upstart, rather than some kind of like fed op to sow disinformation. But that's my personal opinion. I think that could be the case. That is it. I wouldn't make a positive claim that she is some kind of like fed op. I don't think that's the case. Anyway.
Yeah, Cleve, Alex, this was amazing to be with you guys. I know that Cleve wants to get some disagrees on here. So for the Clippers out there, I'll give you this clip. I know that these two don't really have much to say against me on the mogging sphere, but I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in and watching. Support these two. Alex is an amazing guy. I can't give enough props to this guy for helping me with my arguments against Protestantism. And Cleve, I love you for spreading the truth of Orthodoxy. See you guys and peace out.
Peace.
Later, dude. All right, let me get to some of these super chats and we'll start taking some callers. Her being pregnant 24/7 is a sneaky debate tactic.
Everybody wants to use the kid gloves.
No, that's rough. I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised she took the debate because she's pregnant, right? Like,
I think like 7 months. Like,
why would you want to be stressed out if you're like, that's rough. Pray for her pregnancy to be smooth. Pride and nominalism are a deadly duo. True. I've seen so many YouTubers lose their mind defending her BS. It's disappointing. Yeah, I mean, look, I think we could disagree with people. I don't like if somebody wants to support Candace and they say like, hey, this is why I think she's solid in this. I watch her even though I think she's a little crazy. Like, that's fine. But when you get to the point where you're like disowning people and you're like, oh, I'm going to bury you. Like, you're a Zionist shill. You're a TPUSA shill. You're supporting Israel. You're supporting whatever. And you're not. Like you're like, oh, you're like a freaking magatard or whatever invective they want to throw out, like whatever insult they want to throw out. Or like the person that tried to dox me because I was calling Candace out. That stuff is insane to me. That's insane. That's literally crazy. But anyway, that stuff, that's where I would draw the line. I think it's fine to have disagreements, especially politically. What is that? Like in terms of the channel's main focus, which is orthodoxy, this has nothing to do with orthodoxy. This is a geopolitics. This is a political event. This is a speculation on what do you think happened in this particular event. This has nothing to do with orthodoxy. So I don't know why people keep trying to drag that into it. I personally, I think there's a lot of bots, but I've spoken to people who are actually Orthodox that are like, no, actually, I love Candace is my queen. She's my queen. You better not ever come after my queen.
Yeah, they're like, how dare you support Andrew Wilson? And it's like, I've been critical of Andrew Wilson too. All I'm saying is I think he won this debate. Like, it's not a stamp of approval on his entire life, not by any means.
Right. Cleve the president 2028. No, thank you. I am not the guy. I would be the most retarded president you've ever had. All you need now is a golden toupee for all the boomers to vote for you, and you can run all the "We Love Bibi" and Israel clips. Yeah, good grief. I would be the worst possible president. Could be the Zodiac.
That unalive Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, the Zodiac killer did it. It could have been Uncle Ted resurrected, or rather, no, not resurrected, but broken out. Cleve, my personal theory is Charlie went back in time and did it. Good grief, dude. Good grief. All right, we're gonna take our first caller. Nicholas, I see you in the back lobby, but you don't have a mic or a camera connected, so it will not allow me to bring you up. So connect one of those. I'm going to bring up Epoch first. What's up, dude? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. I might do comments off the air because my infant's just starting to wake up. He's 2 weeks old. So quick question on the Charlie thing. I don't know if you guys paid attention, but the Perseids comets did come through about 2 weeks before the event. So there is a chance that trailings from the comets actually re-entered the atmosphere, going directly into his neck. No one's considered that. I think that's a big thing we got to look into. Also, Alex, you've been ducking me for a few weeks. I've put to you out on Twitter that every pee-pee time is not necessarily a poo-poo time, but every poo-poo time is in fact a pee-pee time. I would like for you to contend with that. Also,
I think that is correct. I think that's a great way to evaluate actually, this idea that, not every aggravated murder or not every murder is an aggravated murder, but every aggravated murder is a murder. So I think, yes.
That's fair. Agree completely agree. Also, I would like, what do you guys think about starting to call Sola Scriptura people trans Christian? Because they just identify as Christian.
I've heard it before. I think my branding is kind of already around the sovereign citizen analogy, but I think the trans Christian, I think that works too.
All right, cool. Appreciate you guys a lot. I'm just starting catechesis here next month, so talk to you later.
Glory to God.
That's awesome. Thanks for calling in, dude. I think he's onto something about the meteor, dude. I think he's onto something about that.
Nobody considered the comet trails.
It didn't take much for me to be completely convinced Robinson didn't do it. I really do think it was just an accident. That's why everybody's so confused. It was just an asteroid. It was just a comet. A little tiny rock did it. That's what happened. That's what happened.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, that was it. Actually, it was a student who was practicing. So he was like a elite swimmer. I don't know if you noticed. Michael Phelps is literally there in the audience. Now, he's practiced holding his breath for a long period of time. So he's got very powerful lungs. Now, he was messing around. He's playing around with some of his swim team partners. And he was wadding up a spitball, and he wanted to troll Charlie, but he didn't realize his lungs were so powerful.
He's just too powerful.
That's what really happened. It was just a goof. It was a mistake. So Michael Phelps did
freak accident.
Good grief. Yeah, well, I mean, I really do think like the flooding the zone stuff with all of these. I mean, some of these theories are like on par with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just so outlandish.
Like the beekeeper one and some of these other ones. Oh, we got Nicholas Cannon coming back. Looks like you got your mic connected, so I'll bring you up. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's
Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. So, do you disagree on the Candace thing, or?
Yeah, I disagree. I think that Andrew made a very bad showing. I think that he didn't really present any positive evidence and just set a standard for Candace that he himself couldn't meet, and she proved that he couldn't meet his standard, and she successfully poked holes in his story and made him look really bad, and it was embarrassing.
So what do you think about when he brought up like the autopsy saying that Charlie Kirk died from a 30-06 bullet?
It didn't say that. It said a bullet, but it did not say it was for sure a bullet. It said it was a fragment. It's very easy for someone to assume.
No, it says that they found it says that they found a fragment of the bullet inside.
They found
of
a
his
fragment
body.
of a bullet. Yes, a fragment of a bullet. There is nothing saying it's a 30-06 who killed him. There's not.
It's saying that the entry wound is corroborating a 30-06.
No, it's not. It doesn't say that. It does not say that.
Okay, let's
You're
just
just making
I'll grant
stuff.
this
You're
to you
just making
because I
stuff
don't have
up, man.
it.
Yeah, you're making
Okay.
stuff up. The medical examiner said a bullet, but there is no linking the bullet to the gun, and we don't even know it's a bullet. It's a fragment. Just because the medical examiner said the word bullet doesn't mean it was a bullet.
So there's a bullet
tiny
fragment
little piece
within
of
his
metal.
body.
There's
a
a
bullet
tiny
fragment.
piece of stuff. No, there's a tiny piece of stuff in his body.
Well,
You're just not granting you it's a bullet.
Okay, but the medical examiner says there's a bullet fragment within his
Is
body.
the medical examiner, is he the firearms person, or is he the medical examiner? Just because the
He's
medical
the medical examiner.
assumes,
He's seen a lot of people shot.
Doesn't mean that because he says it's a bullet, it is a bullet. No one's. I don't believe it's a bullet. I have no
I'm
reason
not
to.
saying. I'm saying the medical
metal.
examiner said there was a bullet, right?
Cool. Awesome.
Okay, so isn't
He
that
said there's a
positive
piece of
evidence that he
stuff.
was shot?
No, it's not. It's positive evidence that
Then what
the
is it?
medical examiner said that there was a piece of a bullet. It doesn't say that it was a 30-06. You've already had to walk back your position because you know it's not true. They never said it was a 30-06.
I'm saying I'll grant that to you for the sake of argument because I don't have the report in front of me. Maybe I misspoke, but you concede that he does say there's a bullet fragment in him.
He
That's your own
uses
words.
the word bullet, but I do not grant that he is correct that it was a bullet, and I see no reason to grant that the medical examiner knows for sure it's a bullet.
theory do you, Nicholas? What theory do you subscribe to?
Well, I'm like the most schizo. Like I go full on schizo with everything, and I'm like totally prepared to back that up if you guys want to go there.
All right, so what evidence do you have that it's not a bullet and that the medical examiner is wrong?
Sure. So this came up in the debate, and Andrew blatantly lied and said that you can't see the shirt puff up before the shot. And he said that because he knew that she couldn't show it. And everybody knows that if you watch the video, his shirt fucking puffs up, and it's weird as hell. And I thought it was weird the first day I saw it.
Okay.
And it's always remained weird. That's not what a bullet would do. If a bullet's going to hit you in your neck, why is your shirt puffing up before the blood even comes out? It makes no sense.
Okay, I get that, but like it is
And
clean
then there's
show,
like
and I
all
do
the
want to.
people.
I just
There's like
want
all
to
the videos.
hold on. I just want to stick to my question of like you don't believe the medical examiner report. You do not believe he was shot by a bullet. What is your evidence that he was not shot by a bullet?
I didn't say I disagree with one word in the medical report. Again.
You said the word bullet is there, and you don't think he was shot by a bullet.
Yes, I don't think he was shot by a bullet because of the video isn't consistent with someone being shot, especially by a hunting rifle, but not even any gun. It doesn't look like someone got shot with a gun. It looks like there was an explosion in their shirt.
Do you have any expertise in guns?
Dude, do you see how like crazy this is that you have to start asking me if I have expertise? It's like nuts. It's just like you're doing the same thing Andrew did. You have the same problem. We can't prove it, but I can sit here and poke holes in it. Where Andrew
I have a medical examiner who's saying there's a bullet fragment within his body. I have Lance Twiggs who's corroborating the surveillance footage, saying that yes, that definitely looks like Tyler Robinson.
He definitely looks like
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Okay, well, I think he's in on it. It's hearsay. So what does it matter?
It's not. Hold on. It's not hearsay.
Yes,
That's not
it is.
hearsay.
Yes,
it was
it is.
testimony. It was testimony.
No,
Testimony's not hearsay.
No, he wasn't allowed to be cross-examined. The whole thing will be thrown
Hearsay
out.
is an out-of-court statement.
Okay.
He said that under oath. That's not hearsay.
Okay, my bad. It's still just a guy saying
So
something.
it's not hearsay.
It's a fucking
This
dude
is, see,
who
now
probably was
you have the
involved in
same.
it.
Now hold on. Now you have the same problem that Candace has because you're talking about things you don't know anything about.
Right.
Oh gosh, you got me. Some random guy on the internet isn't an expert. I must be completely wrong. Oh, you're right. It's ridiculous. You're not an expert either. Right back at you, dude. Like it doesn't. You're not getting anywhere by questioning if I'm an expert or not. Obviously, I'm not an expert.
The proper answer is you're right.
You sound like you guys sound like my grandfather telling me that the World Trade Center, that's how buildings are supposed to fall down. It's embarrassing. Like
no, that's not. How is okay? So I said that we have a testimony from Lance Twiggs saying that he's corroborating the surveillance footage, saying that does look like Tyler Robinson, and you're saying that testimony is somehow the same as just an assertion that the Twin Towers fell down just like that. How does that make any sense at all? And you haven't shown me any positive evidence yet. You're just talking about me.
So, okay, if either of us had shown any positive evidence, you're talking about me. I didn't say anything about you.
Yes, I did. I talked about the medical examiner and I talked about the testimony.
How is
from
any of
Lance
that
Twiggs.
positive evidence that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk with a rifle? Explain
because
it to me.
Lance Twiggs said that he did.
So your evidence is Lance Twiggs, who could have very well been in on the whole thing and has very
testimony
much
is
reason to
positive
testify
evidence, yes.
against him. That's your evidence. That's your positive evidence.
Testimony is
what
positive
evidence
yes.
would you accept from my side?
Well, you haven't
if
given
you have testimony
any at all. Why don't you give?
What positive evidence would you expect to see if
sworn testimony, expert reports, some sort of like communications from Israel saying, we're here today for a training exercise or something related to the university or something, some sort of connection.
There's tons of connections.
Meanwhile, we have DNA. We have DNA evidence of Tyler Robinson on the rifle, and on the towel, and on the screwdriver.
Of course, his DNA evidence is on his own rifle. Like, why wouldn't his DNA be on his own rifle?
It's a good point.
Of course it is. Like that's not in question. Like the dogs didn't find the rifle. The dogs always find the rifle. That's like unheard of. The local police and the dogs could not find the rifle, and then the feds came along and said, "Oh, look, we found this rifle in the woods. How convenient!"
And how does that connect
It's a joke, dude.
Let's just grant you that that's true. How does that connect to Israel or the French Foreign Legion or Erica Kirk being complicit?
Dude, like I'm not going to be able to sit here and talk the entire picture about the connection. First part is
just one connection.
What happened and saying that look, what's that?
Just one connection.
One connection to what? I mean, look at Erica
Israel,
Kirk.
Erica, the French Foreign Legion, and Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
Stop! Listen to me. Shut up.
You asked me to clarify my question.
Why are you asking out, dude?
Dude, I'm trying to answer. Erica Kirk, do you disagree or agree that she steered the ship to being with Israel?
She's a little sus. Sure, I'll say that she's a little sus.
No, answer. So did she steer the ship to being with Israel?
Did she
possibly? I don't know.
The ship to being with Israel?
I don't know who's steering the ship over there.
Does that
they were kind of TPUSA.
This is what you guys do. You get asked an obvious question.
No, dude, I'm trying to answer your question.
Sorry,
if
go
you're
ahead.
Gonna keep shouting me down, I'm just gonna kick you, bro.
Go ahead. I didn't interrupt you. Go ahead. I didn't mean to.
You're breaking up. I can't even hear what you're saying. Let me finish what I was saying just a second ago. TPUSA was kind of Zionist prior to Charlie Kirk's event, prior to his death.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when Ridvan went and he went on he did some speaking event with them or something, and it was all Zio slop nonsense. So I mean, they've always kind of been that way. But I mean, even if we were to grant this is a Zionist,
I 100% agree.
Right. We would probably agree TPUSA is Zionist, right? But where would
Yeah,
that
they
be
were
positive
Zionists,
evidence?
and then Charlie Kirk was starting to go the other way, and that was
Sure.
a big problem for them. It's very obvious. Can we agree he was starting to go the other way? Can we also agree that they lied and make it seem like he wasn't for months?
I mean, I think there's tons of suspicious stuff around the entire. I don't necessarily think you have to agree 100% with the official narrative. All we're asking you is if you have any positive evidence he wasn't actually like shot.
So everything I just said doesn't matter. You're just agreeing with it, and it's not any kind of. You asked me for one connection.
No, well, did you hear my position at the
Not a
very
connection.
beginning, or
No, I missed it. I missed the beginning.
no? My position at the very beginning. First off, just so you know, I'm not Zionist. I don't support TPUSA. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm conservative. I'd be more America first than anything else. I support Fishback and these types of candidates. Okay.
I got you.
So I'm not saying that. Oh, we gotta pretend. We gotta protect my sweet little Erica and TPUSA. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there hasn't been any positive evidence to tie into any of these alternative theories. So if there is any, we would like to hear them, because my personal opinion, and this is an opinion, I couldn't really back this up. My personal opinion would be, well, Robinson, he was active on Discord. He was in the furry community. We know from prior to the January 6 events, the feds were very active in Discord, trying to push people into the Unite the Right, trying to push people into the J6 event, trying to get people in these entrapment campaigns. So I would say it's not that far of a leap to assume. Now, again, I'm not making a positive claim, but to assume that perhaps there was some involvement by either a foreign or domestic entity that spun him up and got Tyler so worked up he went out and he did this, and he could have been perhaps he did it, but it was because of this other interest had some motivation to take out Kirk or something like that. I don't think that's too far-fetched. Now, what I think would be far-fetched is to say, I don't know, some of these other theories, like Candace was putting out something like, oh, well, it's the beef farmers. That's
Yeah,
like
dude, that whole thing, what you guys rant about that, it's like, yeah, she has an infotainment show, and like, not every single episode can be hard facts. Some of it's going to be like, I'm looking into this weird stuff. And a lot of the weird stuff she looks into has something behind it. Is it definitely connected to this whole story? Maybe, maybe not. But just to like write someone off because they have to do a show every single day and need to have content and they're interested in weird stuff, like, I don't get what the big deal is about talking about weird stuff. Like Jay Dyer, for example. Jay Dyer's friends with Sam Tripoli. He had Kurt Metzger on his show. Okay, these people say much crazier shit than Candace. But for some reason, we like have to dogpile on Candace and spend enough money to buy a house to go counter signal against her. Like, it's just fishy.
Well, I think my personal interest in this entire thing is I would like to actually figure out what happened. If it was the feds, I would like them to be exposed. If it was Israel, I would like Israel to be exposed, and I would like our ties with Israel to be severed. Unfortunately, when you have somebody who has a massive platform and they're flooding the zone with slop theories, it takes forever to detangle all of the different theories and actually get to the truth. So I think
like the internet itself is what's flooding the zone. Like, all of this stuff was before Candace. Candace didn't even start talking about Erica until people already had figured out that she was like a child trafficking baby eater. Like, and Candace is actually very tame. She didn't even she hardly touched any of that.
Hold on, let's talk about that. So you
Yeah,
think
sure.
you think Erica's a child trafficking baby eater?
I'm being a little hyperbolic. I don't know for sure she eats babies, but yeah, it's pretty clear that she's involved in human trafficking.
Well, provide the case for it.
So she ran. Do you know about the Romanian Angels organization that she ran?
Well, go ahead and make your case.
No, first I want to know if you guys know anything about any of this stuff. I'm curious.
Please tell us about the Romanian Angels organization.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the Romanian Angels was this charity that she supposedly ran in her early 20s, and it was during a time. Alex, you're from Romania, right?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. So you're probably familiar with this period of time. There was
there were many orphans, and after the fall of communism, like the orphanages were overflowing. There is some weird stuff that happened there, 100%.
Yeah, there was a lot of I don't know exactly the details of who was caught and who wasn't caught, but there was a lot of accusations, and I believe he was actually charged or had to leave. I don't have all of this in front of me, and I'm not gonna like remember everybody's name, but Erica Kirk like personally thanked this person for helping her, and this person was caught running a child brothel basically on a U.S. base. And Erica's parents have military contracts at the same base, and her whole family, like, you guys probably didn't watch Candace's whole thing, but Erica is like clearly connected to some very, very shady stuff and comes from a very, very shady family. And like, you have to look at all of this. Like, you're not just gonna get like, oh, like, Israel did it and like we slipped up and said we did it. Like, that's not how it works. You have to look at the bigger picture, everybody's history, what's come together. And I just think that, like, if you write someone off, you're not going to actually ever do that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on the Erica Kirk baby eating allegations, but I appreciate you coming up, Nicholas. This was a good chat. I'm going to get to the next caller here, and we'll see what they have to say. Cleve, Google cast Sunstein cognitive infiltration, and Obama admin guy advocated your exact flood the zone idea to disrupt conspiracy. Oh, this is a very common tactic. I mean, the feds do this quite often. That's why I was saying if this was actually a Fed op, okay, and they actually had something to do with it, they would feed false information to people to flood the zone with bogus theories. And yes, I agree, there are other YouTubers that make absolutely insane theories. But the topic of the week is Candace, because we just had this debate. This is the topic of the week. So this is why we're discussing it. So if you guys are just gonna say, like, I'm not saying this to you, cool dude, I appreciate you super chatting, but I'm saying to the people that are freaking out, why are you attacking my queen? Because she's the subject of the week. If it's Jake Shields next week, then we're doing Jake Shields stuff, right? So anyway, volatile. Yes, correct. God bless that guy. Alex went back in time to be trafficked by Erica and exposed the truth.
I'm the time traveler.
It's true.
You guys got me.
I believe it. Alex, blink twice if you were trafficked. Oh, because it's the Romanian Angels. Oh no. Oh no. It's over. You had something you wanted to pull up? Or
yeah, so this thing about the medical examiner.
Okay,
here. This is a motion from the state here. I don't think there's anything graphic in this. It says, so the caller was right that it wasn't the medical examiner who mentioned it was a forensic examination conducted by the ATF. So the medical examiner concluded the manner of death to be homicide. A forensic examination conducted by the ATF revealed that the bullet that unalived Kirk was a .30 caliber class round. And that's from the state's Exhibit 32 at page 2. It created a complex entrance gunshot wound and fragmented in Mr. Kirk's neck. So there are experts that analyzed this and came to the conclusion that it was an entrance wound, a gunshot entrance wound, and that it was a bullet that fragmented in Kirk's neck. So the bullet, or at least parts of it, sequentially perforated the anterior left side of the neck, blah, blah, blah. The bullet obliterated the left side of the C2-7 vertebrae, 2 through 7 vertebrae, and transected the cervical spinal cord. The medical examiner observed a significant portion of Mr. Kirk's cervical spinal cord was traumatically absent. So it literally disintegrated the vertebrae in his cervical spine. So a bunch of other injuries. The medical examiner observed hemorrhaging around his heart, lungs, and some other regions of his brain. So you have like a bunch of traumatic damage throughout that is connected to this bullet. And another thing is that if you compare this is something Ryan Mullally did. He looked up the believe it or not, the same caliber bullet that hit Charlie Kirk is the same one that hit Martin Luther King Jr. So you can go and like look up. It's like identical, the kind of damage that Martin Luther King the Martin Luther King Jr. had. That kind of damage is like virtually identical to the damage that you see done to Charlie Kirk, per the medical examiner and the ATF expert.
Interesting.
So.
Here, let me pull this up. Somebody was asking about the IP thing, so let me do that before I bring up my next caller, because I want to let people know if they want to call in and discuss this as well. Feel free. So I put forth this challenge to God Logic, because he was saying this verse allows Muslim men to beat their wives, etc. Obviously, some Muslims push back on that and they say, no, this isn't the case. Now, I'm not defending Islam. I despise Islam. But this is what I said. I was like, you believe in Sola Scriptura. How don't you fall under the same exact issue? Exodus 21:10 discusses men taking multiple wives under Sola Scriptura. By what objective basis can you say polygamy is wrong? Now, again, multiple different Protestants, they misunderstood this. This is not a defense of polygamy. Obviously, as an Orthodox Christian, we cannot be polygamous. We condemn this. But I'm saying from the Protestant perspective, how would you defend your position against an opposing view objectively? You could say you do this on a subjective basis, like, well, I think, my interpretation of the scripture says this, or I believe these other verses condemn, like one husband of one wife, where it's talking about the qualifications of an elder. I believe this also applies to laymen, so on and so forth. Okay. So anyway, that would be more the line of discussion here. IP comes up and he starts to engage. Now, remember, the initial post is about Sola Scriptura. So he says,
real quick, I do think you're real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that objection is a good one, because there are some other biblical passages that are hard to overcome on that topic in particular. Like when it says that that God will take Saul's wives and give them to David. Mm-hmm. God is doing that. That's not David going out on his own and getting additional wives. So you have God giving multiple wives to David. So I think it is a good objection to bring up, Cleve.
Yeah. So he brings up scholarship as a proof text against this interpretation. I'm like, good. He's engaging. That's good. So my response to him, hold on. Oops. I didn't even click into it. Womp, womp, womp. Okay. Let me go into this. My response to him is, okay, wonderful. By what standard do you come to that conclusion? Scholarship, if you would consider, if so, would you consider that scholarship fallible or infallible? So I just want to press him on his epistemology for his interpretation of the text, because texts need interpreters, right? They do not have agency. They don't interpret themselves. So I invited him to come on. But if you have an objection to this and you think this is a bad argument, I'd like to hear from you as well, and we can have a discussion. Now I think more civil discussions are more productive. I'm fine to have the guys on like the last one, which are kind of like funny, a little more spurgy. God bless that guy. Nothing against him. But I would like to have a more casual discussion, but we'll just kind of match whatever energy you give. Clearly, Alex is a Romanian angel trafficked by Erica herself. I'm surprised she didn't eat you, dude. I thought she was going to eat you, bro.
That's true.
Trafficked by Erica to be a psyop to discredit Candace, dude. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you might have to disown me, Cleve.
I'm sorry. I just found out you're literally like an Erica Kirk Terminator bot sent here to push Zionism and promote Bibi Netanyahu. IP's God is academia, yet infallible scholarship. Somebody made that argument.
Infallible magisterium of academia.
It's crazy. Somebody did make that argument. I got Tactical Ortho, bro. What's up, dude?
Nothing. How y'all doing today?
Pretty good. Welcome to the show, bro.
Welcome back. I'm live from the surplus store to prove my expertise. This has really been driving me nuts because as soon as it happened, like you brought up things that are relevant, and I feel like it's a huge distraction from the first question I ask when assassination happens is how. I don't know if I've been on presidential security details. I've been on so for the record, my background. If anyone, I have the plaques for the record. I was a 0933, so I was a marksmanship instructor in the Marine Corps. I was 8071 SOC SE, so I was explosives and ordnance disposal for many years. I kind of know all this stuff. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching it, and people are going, well, how could, this guy shot him with a 30-06 from 150 yards. And I'm like, 30-06 from 150 yards? I could hit you with iron sights at 150 yards. He was sitting still. You know what I mean?
Not a hard shot. Right.
No, okay, they go, well, bullets don't do that. How do you know that? I'm going to tell you a true story. This was a guy got a Silver Star for this on a mission I was on. He got shot a 7.62 by 54 rimmed, which is a Russian 308. Went under his armpit, hit the rear plate of his body armor, bounced back, and hit him at the base of the spine. The A&A dudes ditch him. They run away because they're like, oh gosh, this guy's, we don't want to fight anymore. They run away. We have to go in and get him, and he's drug himself to a wall, and he's forced himself up, and he's leaning against the wall, and he's still fighting. The point being, there's no way a 7.62 by 54 rim could do that. What do you mean? Bullets do weird stuff all the time. If anyone's ever done military training, you're not like, okay, let's say you're going into a room, a house or something. The first thing I tell you is don't get too close to the wall. And you say, why? I say, because bullets fly down walls. And you'd be like, what does that mean? I mean, you can shoot a bullet and it'll hit the wall and just glide down it the whole way. If you're leaning against the wall, it'll hit you. Seen it happen. I've seen dudes get hit in the helmet and they just go thwack and they hit their head against the wall. I'm like, what just happened? They go, nothing. What are you talking about, dude? I'm like, you just got hit. You got hit in the head, dude. And he's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. And sure enough, there's a big old hole in his helmet and it hit the helmet and glided around and popped out the other side. Bullets do weird stuff. And I could go into detail if these people are stupid, they don't figure it out. A core locked Remington round is designed to stop. That's what it's designed to do. Over penetration is not a good thing when you're hunting, for the record. So when you shoot, you want the bullet to stop. How much do you think a deer weighs? Like a big deer, let's say from Washington State, Montana, like 160 pounds, maybe 200, about the same as a human, right? So if it can stop in a deer's body, when you shoot it with a soft point like core locked or round, it can't stop in a human body. It dumps its energy. It's what it's designed to do. Like obviously when you're talking about like certain bullets will carry through people, but that's not reality in most cases. You don't want it to, at least, right? Do you want to shoot the people behind him or do you just want to hit the guy? So the mindset that people have is this bullet's going to hit him. And just like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like an atomic explosion or something afterwards. Everyone's supposed to be like, it's a 30-06. Like, it's not, guys. 30-06 is popular because it was a military round, and it used to be you could buy surplus guns for them for nothing. Like, you could buy Lee Enfield, the American Enfields that were .06. You could buy he was using a Mauser 98 from World War II that his grandpappy rechambered for .06. That's what he shot him with. And it's like, okay, when you look at the facts of the case, you go, okay, well, is it possible for a leftist to be radicalized on the internet by the feds? Yeah. Same thing you said, Cleve. That's what I said from the beginning. I was like, look, it's like when you talk to people about like CIA operations, I'm like, well, the goal is for them not to have to do anything. I said, because most CIA people have diplomatic immunity, so you can't really arrest them or anything. But to have diplomatic immunity, you have to be on the official lists of the embassy you're at. So everyone knows who the CIA agent is because they're like, the guy with the diplomatic immunity. So what do? Well, you get assets in the area. So what you, like, as an example, like things you might not view as significant, but like, oh, I hired the cleaning lady who works at the Russian embassy just to listen. Let me know what she hears. Things like that. The CIA does this all the time. This is not news to anyone. But it's like this notion in their head where it's like, okay, well, don't you see that if anything bad ever happens, it must have been a setup? Like, well, it might have been a setup, but are you sure that a crazy furry, possibly a Latinizer, possibly, we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure.
That's why they're Orthodox guys defending Candace.
That's what I said. That's what I've been telling them. I'm like, y'all are just a bunch of furry Latinizers. I do it. But is it possible that he could have been radicalized? Well, he's already mentally unwell, right? That's number one. Number two, he's being told, we watch the news. The most milquetoast leftist, right? Charlie Kirk was a liberal. I'm sorry to tell you all this. He wasn't conservative. He was conservative in our mind in America because America doesn't have a conservative party. Okay. He was a milquetoast left, like liberal person. It was not an extreme position to have. And then they shoot him and everyone's going, whoa, I can't believe they shot Charlie Kirk. And it's like, well, yeah, they're crazy. They've been trying to kill you for years. They just suck at it. So I get it that why people think that, but it's like, it's not that long of a shot. He grew up hunting. Like, granted, hunters aren't always good shots, right? But at 150 yards, well, it's just like with, you remember with Donald Trump when they said, how could he possibly hit him just in the ear? I'm like, what if I told you he wasn't aiming at his ear, you idiot? He just shot him at the chest and hit him in the ear. They're like, that's not possible. I play Call of Duty all the time, and you put the cursor where it goes and the bullet goes there. Dude, sometimes it doesn't. Right? Sometimes it goes to the left or to the right, or you squeeze the trigger wrong, or the wind blows weird. And again, to my point, which is what I think everyone is distracted from, and I think it's 100% flooding the zone, why aren't we looking at the fact that TPUSA has infinite money?
Mhm.
They have infinite money. They could have hired anyone to do their security detail, but they hired who? A bunch of ignoramuses? Like, no joke, the moment I saw the video, I was like, why wasn't someone on the roof? Because I would have immediately sat, if you're on security detail, right? You go in there, you'd sit where he's going to sit, you'd look up, you'd look around, see what you can see. I'm like, God, that's a rooftop over there. Do we have control of that? Oh, we don't? Well, I'll watch it with like binoculars or something. I'll sit behind, you could have done anything. You could have put a guy in a truck and blacked the windows out and just had him sitting there with binos watching the rooftop if you wanted. If they said, oh, well, the police got it. Well, who cares? Put someone watching anyways. I don't trust them. What happened with Donald Trump? The sniper team was directly below the guy shooting at Donald Trump. Their sniper team, because the moment they saw that building, they're like, dude, someone could get up there. Yeah, we better put someone there. And they start shooting, and they're sitting underneath them. Why? Well, the first question you should ask is, did they let him do it?
Yeah.
I'd assume yes. Like, it's the same thing with Lee Harvey Oswald, right? Is it possible that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do it? Sure. But the question still is, wouldn't you just assume that if you managed to get a shot like that off, that someone put you there on purpose?
Right. Yeah. Well, I've thought that a little for a while about the Trump stuff, and again, it's just speculation. But look at each of the attempts in that situation. You've got this same exact Secret Service like pudgy lady running helplessly in both situations. You've got reports of people saying, hey, there's a guy up on the roof. Like, there's literal audio of them saying, like, hey, there's a guy up there. Like, what do we do? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he does the thing anyway. Like, you would think they would take action. But again, none of these are positive. None of these are positive evidence for it. But I think it's fair to be skeptical.
Yeah, we should be skeptical.
Now, if I was a chaos agent, if I was like somebody put here to kind of cover up Fed involvement, what I would say is, actually, it was a Mormon beekeeper cult, and I heard they traveled in, and I saw a couple of people in white t-shirts. See this? Look, I'm going to zoom in. There's a guy in a white shirt with a tie. I see a couple of people with white shirts and ties. Obviously, these are Mormon missionaries. And don't you understand when they're up, whatever, I would like just flood it with just crap. Right.
Yeah.
And get so many different threads to untangle. And yeah, anyway, but go ahead.
Well, and they're making these claims that like they know for sure. So explosives on that real quick. Like, they keep saying shape charge. They don't know what a shape charge is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on a microphone. Well, they put it, don't you see, they put a shape charge on a microphone under his shirt to shoot a bullet into his neck. Okay, dog. What type of bullet do you think they're shooting at on that size of charge? One. And two, shirts move. So it moves a little bit. And instead of hitting him in the neck, it hits him in the arm. Well, that could still kill him. Are you sure?
Right.
Like a 380, maybe, if you could fit like a 9mm size bullet in there, maybe. How big was this microphone, do you think? And again, and it also has to work as a microphone, or else he probably noticed, be like, wait a minute, hold on, something's weird with my mic. Like, don't shake it, just goes off. But I've worked with explosives for a long time. Like, don't get me wrong, things go wrong with explosives. It's just like a weird example with explosives, just like bullets. Weird stuff happens. That's why you hear the story of like a guy jumping on a hand grenade and he covers it with the helmet, it blows up and he lives, and you're like, how? Because the ground was softer than the helmet, so the explosion went into the ground. It's weird because what a shape charge, what that means, because people don't know, is when you put a charge, you can basically make a shape by tamping the other side. So whatever you tamp the other side of the charge with, it has to be larger or harder than the thing you're trying to blow up. So if I'm trying to like blow up your drywall on your house, I just put a charge on it. You'd be shocked to find out nothing happens. It goes boom, and your wall's fine. You're like, huh? Because the explosive isn't intelligent. It doesn't know it wants me to blow up a wall. It just knows the air is softer than the building, so it's going to blow out. That's how it works. That's why when you see things like reactive armor and stuff, they'll have like that gap. When that chart with that explosive hits that gap, it's not smart. It's not going to keep pushing out. It's just going to bounce around in this gap. So explosives, that's how they work. So it's like, why do you like? It's crazy, and it's like, oh, his shirt moved before he got hit. Okay. Wow, my shirt's moving, and I get hit. Oh, I guess it's proof. It's like, no, dude. Why are we diffusing the fact that a crazy leftist, psycho furry communist killed Charlie Kirk? I'm not letting it go. I'm owning this. I'm like, this is mine. Like, I knew you guys were crazy all along trying to kill Charlie Kirk. Why am I going to be like, guys, maybe you're right. The only person who could have done this was the FBI. No.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it would be safe to even hold. I mean, like I said, even if you're to hold, he was spun up by feds, right? Even
I would think that's right.
Right. Like you could hold that position, or you could say maybe a foreign or domestic, agency kind of spurred him forward to do something like this, so they'd have a Cassius belly for whatever else they wanted to do. Right. Like we've seen them do similar. We've seen them run entrapment ops. We've seen them do these things. But yeah, I think my biggest gripe with Candace is she's flooding the zone with crap. Big Jim says Matthew 5 verse 28 would combat polygamy. We'll call in and run that argument, and we'll see how that goes.
I'll let y'all do that.
You go ahead.
I was just gonna say one thing is when you talk about like the Israel specifically, Israel recently hasn't really been doing a lot of like stealthy covert stuff. If y'all haven't noticed, usually when they want to do something, they just do it in the open, and it's so obvious. Everyone goes, "I know you did it," and they're like, "No, I didn't." And you're like, "So Epstein killed himself?" You're like, "Yeah, totally." And you're like, well, hold on. Like, why would you go through? Because they like you to know. It's a weird way of like making a declaration of like, look, what I can do, right? Why would they set up a furry psycho communist and then do it and be like, well, obviously they're going to think furry psycho communist. What message does that send to Charlie Kirk or people like him that are supposed to rebel or are supposed to stick with Israel? No, they want you to know because they want to send that message out there. It's you ever play Fallout New Vegas where Kaiser says to kill the leader of the NCRs for them to know that I can get you anywhere you are, and if I haven't gotten you,
that's an interesting take. Yeah, if they were going to do it as a deterrent, why would they do the psycho furry commie cover? That is an interesting take.
All right, guys, see you later. Thanks for having me on.
All right, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for swinging by. By the way, we do have a super chat goal. Send in some super chats. Support the show if you find this stuff interesting. FYI, Inspiring Philosophy Scholar is a Seventh-day Adventist. Of course he is. Of course he is.
It's whatever helps you, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, when you're a Protestant, you just kind
From
of
that
side
position,
with whoever.
Yeah.
Seventh-day Adventist, maybe sometimes a Mormon, a Jehovah's Witnesses. Good grief, dude. The beekeeper with Statham was real? Good grief. All right, we have our next caller, Oil Man. Welcome to the show.
Is it Oil Man or is it like Oilman?
No, it's Oil Man. It's a great pleasure to be on the show today.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for swinging by, dude. How are you doing?
I had a question. I wanted to challenge all the Ortho Bros to any debate on any subject, but specifically on Sola Scriptura, since you mentioned that earlier. And I definitely want to call out Jay Dyer, who does a lot of talking, but you can never get in touch with the guy. He's always running from me. But we can start that debate tonight if you like. I'm game.
Yeah, why don't you lay out your argument for Sola Scriptura? I'm fine to discuss this.
All right, I hate to change the subject, but here's my argument. So my argument is that Scripture is the only infallible proof that humanity has, and that we see from the past when Jesus came on the scene that he was pushing back against tradition, okay? They were, they had all these traditions that they were, saying people they couldn't carry their mat on this day, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. And so Jesus was pushing back against the very same thing that that Orthodox people are putting back into the mix today through their use of tradition. And so my argument is that your foundation is, you're actually going back to what Jesus pushed back against.
Okay, so you think, so it's your position that Jesus was against all tradition, period?
I didn't say all tradition, but tradition has to be judged against something. You can't just, make up a tradition and say this is biblical or this is of God. It has to be judged against something that's infallible. And so that's what Jesus did when he came on the scene. But Orthodox, and I love Orthodox, and I pray that everybody comes to full, salvation in Jesus Christ. But I believe that the foundation is flawed.
Okay. So what do you, so do you think, the apostles writing in scripture, were they infallible in their teaching, or did they have the capability of being infallible? Did they have that capability?
Here's what I'll say. When the apostles were writing under the influence of the Holy Spirit, okay, for that particular assignment, of course they were infallible.
So they had the capability of being infallible, yeah. Are there words in scripture? Are there words in scripture infallible?
Are there words in scripture infallible?
Sure, yeah.
Is scripture infallible, you're saying?
Sure,
Scripture
yeah,
is
but
infallible, yes.
associating the apostles, right? Writing out, so the authors of the scripture, they're writing this out, were they were capable of making infallible declarations, correct? Because it's revealed in the scripture, right? Okay. When did that stop?
As it's written in the word.
When did that stop?
When did it stop?
When did that capability stop?
Well, the office of the apostle, obviously, you can look at the if you look at the office of the apostle, when they had picked Bartholomew, I guess it was, they picked, right? When they picked him, there were certain criteria that had to be met. What was the criteria? They had to have walked with Jesus for a certain amount of time. Matthias, and I think it was Matthias, and but they had to have walked with Jesus for a certain number of time, right?
Where does it say that in scripture?
When they picked the apostle, they cast a lot, right? And they said, we're going to pick either Matthias, I thought it was Bartholomew.
My question is, where does this stop according to the scripture? Because we have the successors of the apostles, right? So you have Judas, he had a specific office. When he died, Matthias was the next to receive the keys. So he took the authority of that office. He carried on the apostolic ministry. So he carried the same authority. So when did this practice stop according to the scripture, since you're Sola Scriptura?
Well, this practice stopped when you were no longer able to walk with Jesus. Okay, so there was a specific office. They were picked by Jesus, a specific office. They were picked by Jesus, and they had, one of the qualifications and criteria was they had to have been with Jesus. Now, you look it up; it's in the Bible. I mean, it's pretty simple.
So the book of the book of Acts wasn't inspired. You said it stopped when they were no longer able to walk with Jesus.
Correct. As far as the office of apostle. No, I never said the book of Acts wasn't inspired. But but the book of Acts was written by a proxy of the apostle Paul, which is Luke. Okay. And so Luke, under apostle Paul's teaching, right? Under his tutelage, under his mentorship, he's there with them during through the whole process. But I'm saying is the office of the apostle is no longer.
So wait, you made the claim the authors of scripture had the capability of being infallible. You're saying Luke walked with Jesus?
No, I'm saying Luke, though, who was with Paul, the apostle, under his tutelage, inspired the apostle. He's walking with the apostle, and he's writing under his authority. Just like Mark is writing under the authority of Peter. Am I right about it?
So do you not see how that doesn't necessarily follow? So you're saying Luke was what? So first you said they have to walk with Jesus. Now you're saying they have to walk with an apostle that walked with Jesus.
No, you're making two different arguments. See, you're making two different arguments here. I'm talking about the office of apostle, and you're talking about, is that scripture? Okay. You see what I'm trying to say?
Is the office of apostle scripture? What are you talking about?
You're trying to make two different arguments.
No, it's the same argument. When did this authority stop? When did this authority stop being handed down? Because we see the precedent for this in the beginning of the book of Acts. So Acts chapter 1, at the end of this chapter, we see Judas has passed away. They cast the lots. This goes to Matthias. He is the next in line that takes this apostolic ministry upon himself. So when do the keys stop being handed down according to scripture? You haven't been able to demonstrate that to me yet.
First of all, there's no such thing as a key. What keys are you talking about? The keys that are handed to you're saying the keys that are handed to Peter. You know, this is that whole Catholic ideology where you're talking about something's handed down, keys handed down. What are you talking about there? You have to explain your point.
Matthew 18:18. The keys are handed to Peter, not only Peter, but also to the apostles. Did you not know this?
Yes, the apostles. Yes, the keys to the apostles.
What do
the bishop?
What do the keys do?
Not to the bishop. Huh?
What do the keys do? Yes.
Well, I believe it's talked about like whatever you bind on earth. Is that what it is? Bind, you can the forgiveness of sins and binding on earth and such forth. Is that right?
Sure. That gives them apostolic authority, yes, to bind and loose. Who have the keys
that's
today?
What I'm saying. Who has the keys?
Yeah, who has the keys?
Is there an apostle?
There's a successor to the apostolic office, absolutely.
Nah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. There are bishops.
What was
there are
so
bishops who
Jesus
have,
said whatever you bind on earth is so Jesus lays out what the keys do. So who has them today, or was he just kind of like wasting it? He was just wasting his words.
That was a temporary office, is what I'm explaining to you.
It was a temporary office. Can you demonstrate that based off of the scriptures?
Can you demonstrate based off the scriptures that it's not? See,
absolutely. Acts chapter 1, the end of Acts chapter 1.
But you can't prove it.
What do you mean?
Okay, let's go look at it.
I just laid this out. You have precedent for this. This is in Acts chapter 1.
Okay, he gave it to someone who walked with Jesus. Am I right about it?
Matthias?
Yes.
So that he received the apostolic office, yes?
Let's look at this. What are the qualifications?
Can you answer my question, Oil Man, or are you going to keep shifting around? When did this stop according to scripture? Because you conceded that the apostolic office was handed from Judas to Matthias. When did this practice stop according to scripture? Not according to you, according to scripture itself.
When the qualifications could no longer be met.
Where does it say this in the scripture? Show me.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to have to pull it up so I can spoon feed you here. Because apparently you don't know what I'm talking about. So let's go to Acts 21 and 22. Let's go to Acts 21. Peter addresses 121 believers in Jerusalem. And he said, just in the days of the ascension, Judas' betrayal left an apostolic seat empty. They prayed, they cast lots, but what was the criteria, that they needed to meet in order to be an apostle? Okay? They had to have walked with Jesus. Do you understand that?
That's what this verse says. Exactly as you read it right there. Exactly as you just said.
That's not what it says. That's not exactly what it says.
Why don't you read the verses? Why don't you read the verses? Because you're making an inference. You're making a claim. You're
talk about making inferences.
You're giving me your assumption why don't you lay out the actual verses? Or better yet, I'll just pull them up. You said, which were you citing from? Acts what?
Acts 1.
What verses were you citing, Oil Man?
Hold on a second. I got to find out if it's Acts 1 or not. I can't. Let me see here.
So you were just making stuff up off the top of your head? What
No,
were you
I
reading?
know what the Bible says, basically. I'm just telling you what.
You just said Acts 1. Acts 1 says this? Where?
Hold on a second.
Were you just pretending to read something? Like, what were you pretending to read at the beginning of that?
No, I'm trying to get to something. Hold on 1 second, bud. Okay. I know you want to try to get me frazzled, but I know what it says. I know you might not know what it says. Okay.
Okay. So he's going to show us in Acts 1 where it says that this stops.
I didn't say it was definitely in there. You said Acts. Hold on.
Okay, he's going to show us in the book of Acts where apostolic succession stopped according to Scripture. By the way, guys, good time to remind y'all, help hit the super chat goal. We're only at seven super chats so far. We're an hour and 40 in. If you appreciate these types of streams, make sure to support the show, and I'll do them more often.
All right, so here we go. Matthias is chosen. Says. So they nominated two men, Joseph called Barabbas and Matthias, and prayed, Lord, let us know in your heart. Show us which of these two you have chosen to take on over the apostolic ministry Judas has left. And they cast lots, and it fell on Matthias. But let me go back, because it's not in this section here. It's not even in this section. Hold on 1 second.
All right. Well, hey, why don't you go find that and then call back in when you have it? Because it's not in there. I can tell you right now.
I know, but that's your own point.
It's the apostolic succession versus supporting the apostolic succession stopping is not actually in the Bible. I'm not gonna sit here all day while you try to find it, because it's not there. You'll be spending all day. So why don't you do some research, and then the next time we have a stream like this, you can call back in. I'm more than happy to have more conversations with you. I really appreciate you calling in, man. All right, let's get to the next guy here. Again, yeah, I mean, the whole point of this critique is to say, look, you're not going to be able to show me from Scripture alone where this stops. Judas passes the office, or Judas dies. The office passes down to Matthias. He was his successor. When does his succession stop according to Scripture? Can you show me the standard? They're always going to have to appeal outside of the Scriptures or to their own subjective opinion to show this, because it's not actually there. They can't answer the question. They'll be looking forever. Exactly. What was he reading then?
No one knows.
What was he? He was pretending to read. And I noticed, like, he was like, yes, and and then they said apostolic succession doesn't matter anymore. What? What are you reading? God bless Alex Sunrin and Ben Sun.
That's right.
Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate it. Help us hit the goal, y'all. Help us hit the goal. If you want more streams like this, smash the goal. I gotta like get me pumped up to do these types of streams, guys. Why would they need to replace Judas at all if not for apostolic success? Yeah, they could have left it vacant. If it was truly like the non-denom evangelical model of like it doesn't really matter, why wouldn't they have just said, well, everybody's technically an apostle. Everybody's technically an apostle, so it doesn't
You
matter.
just see like the opposite of that everywhere throughout the book of Acts. You don't see anybody starting their own church. Like every church has elders appointed by one of the apostles, right? They all have some connection back to the church in Jerusalem. You don't see anybody just sua sponte starting their own church.
Right. Absolutely. Benny, welcome to the show.
Can't hear.
That's an issue on your end. See if you can fix it. If not, we'll move on to the next guest.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you guys at all.
All right, I'm sorry, man. We'll have to move on to the next guest. See if you can get that fixed, and then you can call back in. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's happening, gents? Can you guys hear me?
Yo. Yes,
Yep,
sir.
I can hear you just fine.
Fair warning, my router is made out of coconut shells and copper wire I stole out of a flock camera. So if I start
Nice.
roboting, just keep me out of here.
Nice.
Nice. That's a good way to set it up. That's a pro tier strat right there, dude.
So I got two things. First off, I'm no big city lawyer. I'm no theologian. I'm just a guy who's had the dubious privilege of listening to a lot of podcast conspiracy shit. So I know a little bit of everything with this whole Candace Owens investigation, all of her threads.
Solid.
But the first point I have is for you, Alex. I didn't see the entirety of the trial, so I might have missed something.
Of the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The preliminary hearing, of course. I might have said trial because I expect what I'm thinking of may be revealed at trial. But from the evidence we have so far, I don't see anything that actually places the gun on campus.
I mean, you don't think that the surveillance of a guy holding a gun or a rifle looks similar to it, and then the gun being like found nearby the campus, that's enough? And then the text messages of Tyler Robinson saying that he has to go get the gun because he dumped it.
I don't. I actually think we need to see from the FBI's narrative that Tyler Robinson stowed the disassembled firearm in his trousers. I think we need to see the shape of that in his skinny jeans, because when he's in the stairwell, you can clearly see the outline of his iPhone, right? It's very distinct. So his pants are definitely tight enough that we should see something, right?
I mean, what was he doing there to begin with? Like, why is he?
I mean, I have a theory. I have a theory on.
He doesn't go there. He doesn't go to that school, and he's not a fan of Charlie Kirk.
I know. I have a theory on that, but it kind of gets into the weeds of conspiracy and speculation. I think there's whispers or there's been mention of other trans radicals who were heckling Charlie, saying like, "Hey, you're gonna die soon. You're gonna die soon." There was that song that was released, like Charlie Kirk dies at 31. So, and I mean, then there's that really weird connection where I believe was it the coroner or the medical examiner, but his wife is a psychologist who is a massive furry advocate. I know it's just coincidence, right? But it's weird. So
There's a bunch of weird
theory,
stuff, but just because it's weird doesn't establish a connection between
right.
Erica Kirk or Israel or the French Foreign Legion.
My pet theory is that Ben mentioned this earlier, that someone has used this group of radical trans to get them onto campus. And I think probably Lance Twiggs was the one who was more deeply radicalized. And if I had to guess, there's probably something Tyler Robinson did, blackmail wise, that forced him to go along with this. Like it was Lance's idea that was fed to him from this alleged speculative radical group.
Well, that's just
right. This is just theory.
Yeah, that's just.
I was going to say,
I'm
glad that you would say that it's theoretical. I mean,
right.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, it's just asking questions. That's right. When it comes to the debate itself, that's really what I'm more prepared to talk about. I mean, does everything add up? I don't think so. I don't think everything adds up. It's just we're dealing with what the evidence that we have before us right now at this time.
Right.
Definitely. That's like I said, I really hope there's a lot more that comes out of trial. A lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's like the defense's strategy too, is that they're going to try as many interlocutory appeals as they can do. They're going to try to stall. They're going to try to get evidence thrown out.
They have to.
So far, they haven't taken like a very affirmative position to the contrary, to where they're like, no, he did not do this. And we have a bunch of evidence to the contrary saying he did not do this. Right there, that's not the approach they're taking. The approach they're taking is to run the clock and to try to chip away slowly over time.
Yeah, that's what it appears like. My conspiracy-addled mind thinks like that's the sign that the state has something on him. Like, you know, they have video of him going at it like a dog to some CP or something. They told him, hey, look, you either take the fall or you eat a bullet, or we send grandma the videos of you getting wild to this stuff. You know, that's where my crazy mind goes, right?
Well, I mean, I think we could probably come up with all sorts of alternative theories. I think what we're more focused on is if anybody has a positive case to support one of the alternative theories. So,
fair enough.
Do you have a positive case for any of the alternative theories, or just kind of speculating?
I mean, personally, I'm kind of particular to the theory of the electrified microphone. If you've seen that one, where Charlie was electrocuted through the microphone in his hand. But seriously, hell if I know, man. It's just all. My theory is FBI cover-up. There's been a few distinct things that point to past incompetence, right? Like you have Kash Patel telling
I
Joe.
don't know. I think you'd be surprised at the amount of incompetence there is in the federal government.
Oh,
right?
I know, right? Like, how can you blame
Most
malice
of them are
with
normal people.
incompetence?
Yeah.
Dude, Kash Patel is not normal.
Yeah, I don't think he's normal. I'm just saying, like the average, agent, he just probably just wants his paycheck every week, just wants to go home.
What I'm referring to specifically is sort of the interference to an international counterterrorism investigation. There was motive. Motive was there, which should be enough circumstantial evidence to at least get the ball rolling, to look and see if there are any threads to pull.
I mean, but there are so many, you can make so many arguments for motive, right? Like, how many things did Charlie Kirk change?
Yeah, but man, geopolitically,
right? Yeah, but Charlie Kirk, he changed his opinion on, he was very libertarian when he first started politics, and he was kind of open to marijuana and LGBTQ stuff. Not open to doing it, he didn't support it, but he's like, you can be conservative and gay. Towards the end, he kind of turned on that, and he's like,
that's MAGA, baby.
Yeah, he turned MAGA towards that. So, I mean, there's a bunch of people that you could say have a motive against Charlie Kirk because he changed his opinion on things. Like he changed his opinion on Israel, or it seemed like he was changing his opinion, in that process, changing his opinion on Israel, changed his opinion on libertarianism and LGBTQ stuff.
Certainly.
Yeah.
My take on the debate.
Go ahead.
The only other thing I had on the debate, this idea, I was trying to call in Dyer yesterday and I got abducted. My take on it is
they got you on the flock cameras, dude. They spotted
you.
Dude,
the Tengu shut me down, bro. They took me out. They didn't want this. They didn't want this getting out there. But I have more of on Dyer's stream, of course, it was who won the debate, and I had more of a meta argument to that point instead of focusing on granular issues, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you're looking for blow by blow. Okay, thanks, Ben. Thanks. I agree that Andrew won this debate if this were a throwaway Slow Thursday modern day debate, where you had Candy and Andy arguing their positions. Andrew, definitely the more seasoned debater, more skilled. He had the stronger positions he could stand on. I think Candace rhetorically entertaining, and she definitely was more prepared, right? She knew, and by more prepared, I mean, I think she knew Andrew's position better than Andrew did.
I think I mostly agree with that, but here's the one problem I have with that last part, that she was more prepared, is that how do you prepare for your opponent to saying blatantly wrong things? Not understanding the hearsay rule, or this is something I realized later, is that I took their word for it when they were talking about the DNA testing, that was actually fingerprint testing. When I actually looked at the filings and then I looked at coverage of the preliminary hearing, they had nothing to do with fingerprints. This was a DNA analysis. I don't know why she was talking about fingerprints at all. She got that completely wrong. There is no fingerprints at issue. It's DNA.
I thought
she was talking about degraded fingerprints.
Was that on the trigger? I got a little confused there too.
Yeah, so she got that completely wrong. It's DNA testing. It's not fingerprints.
I wonder if the confusion. Well, that's beside my point, because I agree with you.
tweeted about that because I tweeted about it because I took her word for it like a dummy, and then I looked into it later and I was like, wait a minute, this is DNA testing. This isn't This isn't like wiping for prints. It's
right.
not.
I mean,
Totally different thing.
feel
She got that
Candace,
totally wrong, and Andrew Wilson kind of just rolled with it. Like, he should have called her out and been like, "You don't realize this is DNA testing, not fingerprint testing." I think he could have been a little more confident in the arguments and in the filings there.
That's the point of preparedness, because if he was really locked in on this issue, on the trial, it sort of seems like Andrew jumped into the middle of this fight. If he'd been here since September, I'm sure he would have mauled Candace, right?
Yeah.
And my take on Candace, let me be honest, she's Black Bimbo Alex Jones, man. Like 63% of the stuff she says is like
she got that Black Queen energy.
True.
She's got the one-liners.
She's amazing. But half of this, look, what I gotta say is, of course, Candace had more facts in her head than Andrew, because she had all Andrew's facts and then some, all the ones she made up too, right?
Well, here, let me say this real quick though, is that I suspected during my coverage of the debate that Andrew was holding back because he feared that Candace would just shut the whole thing down. Right?
Definitely.
That she would just walk.
There was a little bit of trepidation in how to approach.
Yeah. So Ryan Mullally, who was one of the fact checkers for Andrew and who I've gone back and forth with a little bit after his debate with Pisco, because he's a litigator. I'm a litigator. He's a really good debater. He's just starting to get into online debates. I've been doing them for like a year now. And he said that that was a valid concern that they had, that Candace would just shut the whole thing down. So it wasn't just our feeling,
totally,
like, they felt the same thing.
Not only is she Quandis, she's 7 months pregnant, so she could go histrionic at like the drop of a hat, man. And she's 7 months pregnant. Who can really blame her?
Yeah,
I think my main issue with Candace, even in comparison to Alex Jones will spout things that sound crazy, but at least he's referencing geopolitical texts and these types of things.
Absolutely.
He's not out there putting theories saying I received it in a dream, or it's my feeling, or I just have a spiritual like inkling that this is the case. Like Candace put out that beekeeper theory, and she said, I just feel it spiritually that this is all connected.
Candace, she's definitely a fabulous, right? She definitely, and that's what's so irritating about Candace, because she really did, like, for example, with the first week after Kirk's demise, right? You had Mr. Angry Brows and his eviler twin, Josh Hammer, angling to come in and just take over Turning Point USA, right? And the messaging coming out of the organization, Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, the day after Charlie was shot, he hosted sort of the first show back for Turning Point. It seems like behind the scenes there was a little bit of maneuvering, and you had all of the messaging coming out of Turning Point saying like, that's ridiculous. Israel had nothing to. Oh, I'm sorry. The Tengu had nothing to do with this. Charlie loved that country. He would have died for that country. And then Candace, all the while, she's saying that's not true, and everybody's telling her she's a liar, etc. And then she does drop the receipts, so she gets wins there. But then she pulls crazy shit like 2 weeks ago, right? Like I said, I have a lot of free time. 2 weeks ago, she brought up this theory that at 10 a.m. at the hospital that Charlie was taken to, at 10 a.m., the staff and patients in the emergency room were emptied out, as if the emergency room was prepared to receive Charlie Kirk, right? And she has her source, and that sort of thing. You bitch! If that's true, what are you doing? If that's true, that's the end of this. That's like, there's your conspiracy. But she just leaves it hanging. So I understand. Candace she's a load of work.
Well, hey man, I really appreciate you calling into the show and giving us your feedback and the debate and chatting with us, man. I'm gonna move on to the next caller. You have a good rest of your day, bro.
Hey, thanks, brother.
All right, see you later. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll move on to the next guest. By the way, y'all, smash that super chat goal. We're only at 11. Super slow super chat day today. Good grief, y'all. It is a word concept fallacy because bishops ain't called apostles. Therefore, there's no apostolic succession. Dude, they don't call them bishop. They don't call Bishop Apostle Don Quarius III. They ain't out there calling him that. Well, maybe that's God Logic's dad. Bishop Apostle. What was his name again? You remember?
I forgot. Avery Senior? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that the other guy. The other guy.
No,
I know what
that
you're talking about.
Bishop Avery. He's a Bishop Apostle Deacon Avery, the seventh junior. Good grief. No, they take the apostolic office. This is why I laid out the entire thing with the keys. What do you think the keys do? Just stop with the apostles. That was the question. It's not a word concept fallacy. They take the apostolic office, the office. So that would be the. By the way, if you wanna argue that, feel free to call in. Pray for Madonna. She spent several hours the holy monastery of Varlam in Meteora in Greece, seeking advice from the abbot. Okay.
Good. She should become Orthodox.
Win, Cleve, and Alex stream. W's.
Hey, thank you.
Bam, W's immediately. And you see this, guys, like we're able to have, maybe not the first guy, but we're able to have casual conversations about this stuff without ripping each other apart. Ortho Bros, if you're a Candace fan, this is possible. You don't have to immediately be like, oh, you don't agree with my pet theory, I disavow. Like, this is nuts. We don't have to be like tribal to that level. I would understand if Andrew was actually a Zionist, or I would understand if he was like, you know, doing all that kind of stuff. But he's not. He's literally debated Zionists, what, twice in the last year? And then even more last year. Andrew said he had to tiptoe to get to the end. Well, look, I think I personally, I think it was a blunder to pay the $300K and not go full blood sports mode. If he's there, you do the thing. But I know he had a lot riding on it, and I wouldn't say, if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't get in my own head. You know what I mean? And maybe think through too far my strategy to the point where I'm like, well, I'm gonna play it cool. And if I get her to concede that she has no evidence for the Israeli involvement and she has no evidence for Erica Kirk's involvement, then that'll be good enough. But apparently not, because the other stuff still got clipped. And ultimately, I don't really like this content creator, but I don't have anything super against him. Virillium, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy, he had some decent analysis on why he thinks Candace won, is because the clips. And today we're in a post-truth world. Whoever gets better clips.
Well, then thank you for admitting that he won the actual substance of the debate. Like, that's kind of my reaction whenever people are like, yeah, but she won the clips battle, although he had better arguments and won on substance. Okay, so he won. Thank you. It's right. And like they make a big deal about that one. What is the line she spouted? I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. It's like, that would hit if there was something for her to, that she said that needed to be understood.
That was a cope response.
Yes. She had no substance prior. If she said something worth understanding beforehand, then yeah, that line might land. But there was nothing she said that was worth understanding. So,
right. All right, we have our next guest coming up. Holy Handmaid, welcome to the show. You're muted.
Hey, you guys. Yeah, sorry. I just didn't want to do it too soon. Undo the mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So I guess I was going to call in because I did have a question for Alex. I know he's an attorney, but I know that like murder trials are not really like his forte. But this, like I've watched a lot of trials, and then for my job, I do end up in a courtroom multiple times, you know, even on a regular week, but not for murder trials, obviously. But I have watched a lot. Now, particularly when it comes to like really like nationally or world recognized murder trials that have a lot of attention. Like I already had this question, but then it came to, like, it really came up when during the hearing, there was a part where they mentioned that the prosecutor and the defense had agreed on a small, tiny, it was only like 2 or 3 second clip of Tyler in the interview room, and you don't see his face. And that's when it really started to hit, like in my brain, like these conspiracy people or Candace, they seem to operate like on like questions that haven't been answered and whatnot, these gaps that, haven't been answered, but probably will be. But don't they have to make sure that they're not presenting the defendant in too biased of a way before a jury has even been selected? Could that be why they don't provide very clear footage of his face? They're not giving you like zoomed in footage, even though they may have it. They have like terabytes of footage.
I think there were some motions filed to not present Tyler Robinson in like his prison attire, like the jumpsuit, to not show him in shackles. And I know that there was some motions going back and forth about that. Because I'm not up to date on the like all the filings in the lawsuit, I can't say for sure, but that's absolutely a factor that they consider, to not bias the public too much with these very public hearings that are covered by everyone and their uncle.
Well, and then remember, the defense also like tried to impeach the prosecutor for making just a simple statement about the, what journalists and whatnot were inferring off of the inconclusive statement on the bullet. And then that actually, like, that's why the prosecution or like the state of Utah has to pay for his defense now. So
Right.
it can be like really important that they don't show too prejudicial of footage of like the defendant.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Otherwise, they have costs to pay.
Yeah, apparently. And then I guess I just wanted to mention a couple of things that I feel like never get brought up that are like pretty key pieces of, or that would dispel some, maybe, I don't know, because the conspiracy theorists, they just jump to you'll answer one and debunk it, and then they just move to something else.
Gaps. It's evidence of the gaps, just like Andrew said.
Yeah, they have like 6, and like you take down one of the theories and you're like, oh, hey, that's actually been debunked, and then they just move it to something else. That's how the debate yesterday was with Rob and Jake and them all on X. It was just hours of it, and then at the very end with the closer, just kind of like with Candace, it's like you never even spoke to them, like you never even dealt with it. They just move on to something else.
Yeah.
So
I think part of it is because Candace is like not a smart person. Like, and she's good at making money and at like sensationalizing things, but like you can't keep her mind on one topic for longer than like 30 seconds. On to the next one, as if the first topic never happened.
I would offer a counterpoint to that. I think Candace is actually intelligent. I think she's more like a corporate upstart, like I got something to prove kind of individual. But I can see from the perspective of a content creator, when you're operating at that high of a level and you're trying to really stick at the Daily Wire, you have to come up with a monster of the week in order to stay relevant. And she's been very good at dripping out. This is why Andrew made that little jab at the end. He's like, oh, I got to drip out the evidence. That's been her whole shtick. If you want to learn more of the insider scoop regarding this case, you have to follow me. And it's become a monster of the week show, which is effective, and it builds an audience. So I don't think necessarily that's because of incompetence. I think that's intentional, but I think what that ends up doing is it ends up flooding the zone with, a bunch of bogus theories that now everybody is trying to chase down. Notice each of the callers that we've had today so far that have been, the pro Candace side, and they put forth a positive case. I haven't heard any positive evidence for any of these other cases. Not even like a little bit. Maybe just that it's usually just evidence that the official narrative is funky, therefore my other theory, that's really cool. But
so I think, it seems like she does have like a very talented team. So that Blake Mitchell PR guy, I believe he did I actually don't know for sure, but I think he's had very high profile people for PR. And then it's always seemed weird to me that like Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever, he had horrible tweets about Candace and her husband, and then he completely switched sides on that. It would not surprise me if he also does PR for her, like that weird Daily Mail story that came out or whatever. There's very weird things. She also has like a prominent attorney. There's just a lot of people that I think are good that surround her to kind of like, like in the exchange with Andrew, she basically was like, "What are you telling me I can't think?" She has like a good way of like turning it against the other person. It's very manipulative, but like, I would probably believe her more like, for example, Data Republican on X. See, a bunch of stuff happens on X and then she never covers it. That's how the Egyptian plane stuff was debunked and whatnot. Like, or for example, the other week she said that Erica did cocaine, even though that was Erica's fans responding to her. It was her fans' answers to a question that Erica had answered, but people just believe it. And if they're not over there, they don't see these people debunking some of this stuff. And so I think she kind of just gets away with it, I guess, unless, something like this debate where she was going to be called out on every single one of them. But I don't even know how you tackle that in a reasonable amount of time. She's had 11 months, 5 days a week, just spewing them. So
topic, yeah.
It just seemed like, Andrew maybe took like the more, she kind of presented it as some like asshole lunatic. And it just seemed like maybe he was he's always talked about, he's not there for the convincing the other person, he's there for the audience. And so maybe if he presented himself as very calm and cool and collected, anybody who was on the fence might be persuaded by that from her audience.
Yeah, I think it'll age well, definitely.
Yeah,
comments.
I think there's only so much you can do when you have that big of a person you're going up against with that much of a team and lawyers. And it's probably pretty hard to kind of tackle that, especially when there's so many theories. So we tried to kind of drill down on the substance of like, how do you even know that? But I think that's
what he was trying to, that was supposed to be his kill shot. But it backfired on him when she conceded it at the very beginning of the debate. So that was supposed to be his kill shot was, you don't have any positive evidence for the Erica Kirk accusations, and you don't have any positive evidence for the Foreign Legion, French Foreign Legion and Israel involvement. And she conceded that right at the beginning of the debate. So he's just kind of like, okay, where do I go from here? Because that was my strategy, was to work up to getting her to admit this. So
but I just felt like they're really stupid. He needed to explain what positive evidence means. So even if you take into account the hearsay, that does not change the medical examiner. So like the medical examiner report is evidence, and then somebody other than the medical examiner is coming in and explaining, here's the report, here's what it says. That's why it would be the hearsay, not that the medical examiner report is different. Whereas she goes, here's a receipt that does not tell us that it was Tyler Robinson. We don't even know if it's his. And also, I'm going to make a bunch of theories off of it. So she doesn't even have the underlying evidence in her favor. She just...
The receipt
so I don't even think they knew.
Kind of a blunder.
Yeah.
I was just very quickly, I think the two pieces of evidence that are important is when they bring up the crime scene stuff. It was mentioned very briefly in the preliminary hearing. UBI has 3D forensic mapping. So the entire thing has been mapped, kind of like the Idaho 4, where they did a model and you had a computer program that you could see where everything was. It like recreates the scene. And then the other one would be with the bullet. Like, even though the casing was matched, people keep saying like, oh, the fragments, like you can't tell, you can't match it. They are doing further testing. It's called a comparative bullet lead analysis, a cable testing, and it's going to prove the lead from Charlie, the fragments from him, match the other bullets that were found. They also have a bullet from his house that they grabbed too. So, I mean, I think those are important pieces, and I never hear them brought up.
Yeah, I think they will eventually be brought up, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the outcome of those tests for sure.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be a pretty decisive factor.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for having me up. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for chatting in. See you later. All right, let's pull up the next guest. I think Jay has the best take on the CK event. Well, he just kind of says it could be a number of these different theories, but we won't know for sure until more is revealed. It's kind of his take the other day when he was covering it.
Yeah.
I think that's the most measured thing that you could say at this point. I mean, if you're gonna point to an alternative theory, there at least has to be some level of positive evidence linking the two together in order for you to make a definitive claim on it. You could say, I think it's this,
right.
It's my own opinion, and you can have opinions, right? But if somebody's like asking you, okay, well, let's test your theory, and then you're unable to provide any kind of evidence for it, well, then you have a weak case for that position. Appreciate y'all for defending the faith. Why do you think people won't contend with arguments and join the church? I'm a slow boy, but I get the points. Well, when we're doing theological stuff, the politics stuff has nothing to do with orthodoxy. But I think personally it's a spiritual issue. At least it was for me, because I had the information, but I had it for the wrong reasons. I had it because I wanted to debunk orthodoxy. So I think a lot of it is a spiritual issue. You can give them threads to pull. I think sometimes that's more helpful. You don't see, this is why I've started posting. If you follow me on X, I started posting the praise reports and the prayer requests and things like this from people who have been convinced, so that you could see all the stuff you don't see from the talking heads. Because the talking heads, they've got a lot to lose. Like I'm an anomaly. Don't expect that to happen often. Somebody who's a dead set Protestant that's doing debates, or prominent Protestant figure that has a lot to lose by leaving, don't expect a lot of those guys to move. They make money doing what they do. They are entrenched in their positions. This is a career for them. They have a lot to lose. And oftentimes it's a pride thing, especially for the talking heads. It takes you got to be willing to take a lot of crap to admit you're wrong. And I took a lot of crap to admit I'm wrong. A lot of it.
Clip it.
Yeah, well, dude, for real though.
A lot of crap.
Dude, for real.
No, you did. You did though. You did.
The first like week was nuts. Like it was trending on X, but not only was it trending on X, it was like everybody I had ever worked with besides Gavin and Ruslan. They were the only two that didn't come out and attack me the first couple days. Sean Luke, other Paul, all these dudes, they were doing like dirty stuff. Like Redeem Zoomer leaked DMs day one. Before I even announced it, he leaked DMs. Saying that I was becoming Orthodox before I even announced it. So I had to push forward the premiere day on my announcement.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. That's pretty bad.
Other Paul did a fake phone call. He was like, "Hey buddy, I just want to see how you're doing. Oh, by the way, I'm just fishing for information because I want to do a debunk video with a bunch of other Anglicans." And I think I've come to this point with that guy in particular. Every time I interact with him, it becomes like character attack stuff. It becomes like 2 or 3 weeks worth of just ankle biting, nonstop back and forth. He won't concede even the smallest little piece. Like even if he's completely wrong about like something he says and it's minor, like Ben was wearing a green shirt and I was obviously wearing a blue one. He'll like promote Cleve is a liar.
Fight tooth and nail, dude.
It's so stupid. I'm done dealing with that gentleman. Somebody else can go and debate him on something. I'm never going to do it. I'm done with him. I'll debate anyone. I'll debate Gavin Ortland. I'll debate whoever else, but he is just complete retard. I'm done with him.
Yeah, no, there was somebody recently who asked if I would debate. I think you liked that comment too. I was like, Yeah, I debated him once, and then he just crashed out on X and just went
Exactly.
crazy. So I am not interested in, giving this person a second bite at the apple. Giving them a second chance. Like, no.
Yeah,
If they were nice about it, maybe, but not that guy.
correct. I would love to hear Alex cover the testimony given by the DNA expert Candy cited in the debate. She presented it as sufficient evidence Tyler is a patsy, but this in no way matches the expert's testimony. I think you covered it a little bit earlier, Alex, but why don't you go ahead?
She was saying,
saying
like the opposite. The expert was saying like the opposite of what Candace was saying. The expert was saying that it's definitely Tyler Robinson's DNA on the gun. And here's the thing about the degradation that Candace was talking about. She wrongly attributed to fingerprints. It doesn't have to do with the prints, it's with the DNA, right? So if you imagine like DNA as like this is my layman's explanation, right? So you take this for I'm not a DNA expert. I've just done the smidge of research into this. If you imagine DNA as like a line, right? One line. Fragmentation refers to like, okay, you don't have like the entire strip of DNA, you just have fragments of it, right? So that has nothing to do with the quantity of DNA that you have on the trigger, right? Or the gun or whatever. They were testing the trigger. So you can have DNA that's highly fragmented, but if there's a large quantity of the DNA, then it doesn't matter that it's fragmented because you have enough to recreate it anyway. And the expert was saying with like very, very high certainty that it is Tyler Robinson's DNA on the gun. The DNA degradation has literally nothing to do with the amount of DNA on the gun, right? So you can get a bunch of little pieces of the DNA. If there's a large amount, you can still reconstruct it with very high quality. And she said like some pretty absurd odds. I think it's like, I'm pretty sure their testing laboratory is able to go up to like 1 trillion to 1 odds, like literally 1 trillion to 1. And she said, yep, that's Tyler Robinson's DNA on the gun, like 1 trillion to 1 odds. They are his. So. And it's on the screwdriver, and it's on the towel, and it's on the trigger. So you're muted. You're muted.
There you go. Boomer moment. Boomer moment. Holy Handmaid says, thank you for the indulgence, gentlemen. Thank you so much for calling in. I like doing the call-ins and stuff like that. I think it's kind of fun, getting to hear from people that watch the show, even if they disagree. I feel like this is really how it should be done. Because when it's just like in the comments section of like an Instagram post, people are
that's the worst. I hate that crap.
it's ridiculous, dude. And what's crazy is all the comments are like, I don't know why they always bring up orthodoxy for like a political take. They're like, I'm Orthodox, but like, okay, that's great. What does that have to do with your political take? I'm Orthodox, but I think you're scumbag TPUSA shill. Okay, what does you being Orthodox have to do with it? That's why, like, occasionally I think some of these are bots, because it's all like it's the same narrative. There was like one that was saying, it was under a J post on this topic. It was like, I'm like, you opposing Candace. I think it was under a J post. It's like, you opposing Candace has convinced me to leave Orthodoxy.
Yeah,
like that doesn't
so
sound
crazy.
That doesn't sound like an Orthodox guy. That sounds like a bot or an alt line.
Well, yeah, and if that's enough to dissuade them, then they probably weren't really convinced in the first place, right?
Yeah, correct. Well, I think it's a bunch of, it's either alts or it's because they're all anon accounts, like every single one of them, all anons. So I don't know. But granted, I have seen some Orthodox people who are Candace fans. And, they support her. They defend their queen, my little sweetie. You filthy, dirty, rotten cleave. I disown you for attacking my queen. I love Candace Owens. She glows every time I have a rough day at work. I work in the oil fields. I come home. I have to put on my little sweetie, Candace Owens. And here's this bald chud attacking my queen. Not going to happen. You're going down, Cleavester. You're going down. I mean, here's the thing. Look, the guy that we were talking to just before Holy Handmaid, was putting forth all the different, I don't know if it was that one. Somebody was putting forth like, yeah, well, it could be like this. Like he changed his mind on this. He changed his mind on this. He made this group mad. You know how many groups I made mad? How are you going to put forward
quite a few groups mad?
Dude, all right. Let's say I go to Lord of mercy. Let's say I go to some event or whatever and I get unalived. Okay. Now there's this big, now Alex is doing the debate stream. You got to be the new Candace for Cleve. You got to be the Candace for Cleve, except for you can't flood the zone. You got to do it legit.
Got to do it properly.
Well, let's say that happens. Oh, well, look at this. We had the Candace fans mad at him. They're trying to dox his parish. They're trying to dox his information. So the Candace fans are mad. Could have been a Candace fan. Could have been Candace Owens herself. She saw I was too powerful with my sub 400 consecutive live viewers right now. I was too powerful right now. But anyway, no, yeah, Candace did it herself. Or maybe it was the Latinizers. They don't like me too much. Or is it the Roman Catholics? They hate my guts. Or is it the Protestants? I've gotten death threats from Protestant Lutherans. Or is it the Troons? I call that stuff out all the time. Or was it Israel? I do the Israel joke all the time. Which one of these groups did it?
Couldn't be Israel.
Lord. You see this? You just flood the zone with like every single group that would could possibly have a grievance against me. That's going to be a very long list. And it's the same thing with Charlie. There were a long list of people, long list of groups that didn't like him too much. You know what I mean?
Right.
The ethnic supremacists, like the Black Hebrew Israelite types, they hated him. They hated his guts. Liberals hated his guts. Commies hated his guts. Homosexual groups hated his guts. It could have been Israel because he was turning on that. It could have been fill in the blanks. Dog-headed man says Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK. Saudis took down the Twin Towers. Building 7 fell from sympathy. COVID came from a pangolin. Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. USS Liberty sank itself. Tyler Robinson. Oh, yes.
So just assertions. Like, what reasons do you have, man? Like, you're just saying it's like every other conspiracy theory. Why? Remember, here we deal with reasons. You can assert conclusions all you want. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Mm-hmm. More degraded is a relative metric.
Yeah, it also has nothing to do with the strength of the DNA testing. Like, you can have a lot of degraded DNA. That would be enough to have like a very positive connection to a person.
FPV flight, can I call in about the catacombs I saw last week? While I would love to hear about it, I do want to keep it on topic, but I appreciate you sitting in the chat. All right, we got Michael coming up to the stage. By the way, help us hit the goal. Smash that goal. So I got some supers to read after this guest here. What's up, Michael? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. So this is kind of targeted at Alex since he's the litigator on the panel. But I'm curious. I've noticed this a lot. I actually had a little bit of a conversation with Ryan Mullally about this yesterday on his stream. But I'm curious from a litigator's perspective. One of the things I've noticed is that a lot of times the Candace followers have a tendency to, anytime somebody presents evidence that may be considered a positive claim for, Tyler Robinson being the person who took the shot, they'll find a particular piece of evidence and then dismantle that and go, that therefore makes the evidence useless and it does not prove that Tyler Robinson took the shot. But my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, is that not all evidence has to prove the conclusion. The evidence is there to support particular pieces of the case, and all of those pieces together are what
cumulatively.
Yeah. So while the amount of DNA on the rifle, degraded or not, doesn't itself prove that Tyler Robinson took the shot, it does demonstrate it's evidence provided for a particular piece of the state's case. So
Yeah.
maybe, Alex, you
Yeah, at
could
one point or
explain how
another, his
evidence is
finger was
used.
on that trigger. Yeah. So basically, you have in every single court filing, and if you look through the court filings here, you'll see that, like, I think the state and the defense, they do a good job of saying, like, okay, here are, like, this is our statement of facts, and then they'll have, like, citations at the end of each fact. So the purpose of evidence is to be able to substantiate the facts that you want to push, right? Some facts are just, like, totally undisputed, right? And, like, that's an ideal case, right? Because then you take it to trial. Then the only difference is the interpretation of the undisputed facts, right? Sometimes there will be a dispute on what exactly the facts are. That's when you get into, like, different interpretations of the evidence. And that's why we have juries and judges that will decide that. So they are the ones who decide matters of fact. The judge decides matters of law.
And I think this is at the root of a lot of the distinction over people quibbling about whether or not the evidence that Andrew talks about is overwhelming, because they're expecting every piece of evidence to be a smoking gun. And Andrew's point was not necessarily, oh, there's so much DNA on the gun, it's overwhelming, or, oh, there's so much security footage, it's overwhelming. In and of itself, his point is that you add all of these individual things together and it all points the same direction, and those pieces of evidence corroborate each other, not just random off the wall things, right? Like,
yeah,
and I think
like,
this is what
think about when you string all of, like, the state's facts. If you look at them, like, through the paradigm of the state, like, think about the narrative that they can spin here, right? So you have Tyler Robinson. He's at a university 3 hours away from his home that he doesn't go to. What is he doing there? Why is he there in the first place? Right? He doesn't go to that university. You have surveillance footage of somebody who appears to be Tyler Robinson, who is, like, going throughout the school, who is on top of a roof, who has something that's looked like a rifle pointed in the direction of Charlie Kirk with a clear line of shot, right? It appears that the person who appears like Tyler Robinson flees the roof as soon as you hear the shot ring out. At that exact moment, he takes off. And then later, you have his boyfriend who says, definitely that looks like Tyler Robinson, right? And then you have all of the text messages who Lance Twiggs he testified that, yes, I got these text messages from Tyler Robinson. They're corroborated by the self-deletion note that he left, which is, like, more or less a confession that Lance Twiggs says, yes, that was verified, right? So we have, like, not just speculation from the state. Like, this, when you look at the evidence cumulatively as a whole, they have a very strong case. They were absolutely going to make it past this preliminary hearing. There's, like, not a doubt in my mind. Now, whether they make it through trial, that's a different story, right? Because it's also a higher standard at trial. But, like, to think about the facts that they can spin. Now, if you're on the defense side, it's sure, but you have some, like, conflicting testimony about exactly what he looks like and where he was. And you have another person that shows up later that looks similar to him in different clothes. You're trying to say that this is the same guy that showed up and tried to clean up his tracks later. It's just a different guy. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Sure, you have some, like, DNA evidence linking him to the gun. There's a bunch of other people also that have their DNA all over the gun, right? So, I mean, it's a matter of, like, what can you say? What narrative can I spin with the evidence, right? Like, can I say this? Like, will I get dinged if I say something like this?
Right. Yeah, but I think the important piece of that is one piece of evidence doesn't have to prove the entire
it doesn't have
case.
to be definitive. Yeah.
And I think that's why everybody's going, oh, how can you call this overwhelming? And it's like, it's not that any individual pieces, although I think there's plenty of arguments for individual pieces of that being, like, pretty telling. But even if you can, cast doubt on particular pieces of the evidence, that in and of it, like, saying, well, we can't trust for example, the note. There was this argument over whether or not the self-deletion note was accepted or authenticated or whatever, because there was debate over that at the preliminary hearing. But my understanding of that is that the judge was concerned not about whether or not that was going to be admitted into evidence, but whether or not that note in particular was going to be broadcast over the internet and whatever.
They kind of blundered that a little bit.
Yeah, that was a huge piece. Everybody's like, oh, the judge didn't even. And it's like, no, the problem was not that the evidence wasn't trustworthy. It's that he didn't want that out there. But anyway, it's that kind of thing. Just because you can cast some doubt on a particular piece of evidence doesn't therefore undermine the case or open the door to all of these wild theories. So I just was curious from a litigator's perspective how that evidence would be utilized. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it's you're absolutely right that it would be cumulative.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Good questions. There's also somebody in the chat talking about the DNA degradation. There's a lot of factors that can contribute to DNA degradation. It's not always time, like UV rays, sunlight can affect DNA degradation. Temperature can affect DNA degradation. Like throwing it around in the forest can affect DNA degradation, right? Throwing it on the ground, trying to wipe it with a towel, like all of these things can affect DNA degradation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at this chat here. How do I donate $1,000? If you really want to do that, I do have a PayPal. You know, if you do want to support the show and it's too much for a super chat or something, feel free. You can send it to a PayPal. You know, if you're being for real, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, let's look at this. We need a cleave out of context. We love Israel. We love BB, my sweet little Candace. Yeah, dude. Well, one day all of those clips are going to be used against me. I guarantee it. Because I've noticed this. People are not interested in the truth. They don't really care what my position is. They don't care what your position is. They don't care what Andrew's position is. He's said time and time and time again, he is not Zionist. He's not a Zionist. He's done a zillion and one anti-Zionist debates. Like, he said it time and time again, yet they continue to call him a Zionist. It's just absolutely insane. They do the same thing. Guess what? To me, as soon as I start commenting on the Candace stuff, I mean, it's crazy. So I wouldn't doubt if they'll start taking some of these like joke clips where I'm like joking around and they're like, look, you know, Ben is actually like he loves Bibi Netanyahu. He's got a crush on Bibi.
Man, that Soren guy's in on it too.
Yeah, dude. So my my AC unit is still busted.
Yeah,
it's somebody come, dude. It's been busted since July.
Minute.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Maybe a little longer than that. But I had we update on that. We had somebody replace the fan motor because they replaced it with the wrong one. So it was like 400 RPM short. So it like fried my condenser. I replaced the condenser. So they put the right one on. Then that same company wanted to charge me $1,400 for a coil cleaning in my upstairs unit, not the outside one. $1,400. The same people who broke. By the way, I didn't even mention this part. When they replaced the fan motor, it broke my AC unit completely. It was working somewhat. It was just getting hotter in the evenings. Now it's 91 degrees in my house. I'm in a room with a window unit.
91.
Right? Yes, it's 91 degrees inside my house. I'm telling you, bro. Like, I'm in a room with a window unit right now, and it feels pretty nice in here. But as soon as I leave that door, dude, oh my goodness, bro. It's like I'm getting blasted with a freaking a fireball from a Ethiopian
fireball.
It's nuts. So now I gotta get. I'm not going through that company that messed it up. I'm going through a different company, but they still got to get up there and clean the upstairs unit coils. It's gonna be super expensive. It's cheap to do the outside ones, but the attic is like cramped. So they want to charge me $1 zillion. Plus, it's summer and everybody's AC is broken, and nobody wants the crap job, so everybody's overcharging me. It sucks. It is what it is, though. What's up, great American Prince?
How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing very good. I won't take up too much of your time. I just wanted to say that I actually think Andrew lost, not on the substance of the debate, but he did pay $300,000 for this.
It's true. That is true. I'm like, I think that's, I don't know how he's going to recoup it. I mean, but it is Andrew Wilson. He does get like super.
I'm sure he'll find the money, but yeah, this was not worth the
two or three live streams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Don't get it in a weekend. But yeah, this was not worth the price of a cheeseburger. This was awful. It was absolutely terrible. But yeah, I just wanted to say that the internet discourse, because I haven't been following this very closely, because you get schizos, man. Just so many schizos, just, you know. And I think what Andrew was doing was where he's like, what's your evidence for all this, is the right question. Maybe there's some things that don't make any sense, but to make these giant leaps in logic that so many people are doing is absolute insanity. But this whole, especially with the internet discourse, shows that people come to conclusions first and work their way backwards.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I wanted to say. I've been waiting about 40 minutes to make that stupid joke.
Well, I appreciate your patience and for tuning in, man.
No, you have a good stream. I appreciate both of you guys.
Thank
you.
All
right, see you, man.
You have a good one.
Oh, all right. We got our next person, G. Anthony, coming up to the stage. Welcome.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I've called in before. Good to see you again, Alex. I just wanted to make a comment about the whole thing. I kind of agree that paying $300K for it was pretty lame. I kind of think that it was intended to be kind of a chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, you offer up the money. I think there was a thing recently. I think there's this crazy Marxist streamer named Hassan Piker, and he like apparently shocked his dog on camera or something weird. And so I think Palmer Luckey is like, hey, man, we'll give you $100,000 if you send the collar to us and we approve that it's just a vibration collar. And, of course, he didn't take it because, you know, it was a shock collar. So I think the intent was that she would back down from it or would ask for, you know, an exorbitant amount. And so I don't know that they initially thought she would even take it.
So you think it was a bit of like, dude, he's not going to pay us that money. And they're like, fine, we'll do it. And then they're like, dude.
Well,
she said she'd do it, and we have to give her the money. And then they're like, they paid the money. Oh my gosh!
I would believe that if he didn't like counter offer like a 500,000, and then she said no, we'll do it for the 300, and I'll take your debate offer. I don't necessarily think Andrew was playing chicken, because I don't think it would.
Well, I think it was originally chicken. And then they realized that they were kind of down for us, and they're like, well, can we get the money? I think he talked to Brian Atlas, and they're like, well, can we get the money? And Brian Atlas is like, hell yes, probably. But see, the thing, I think the ultimate problem here is that, and an earlier caller said something to the effect that Candace Owens is kind of aping Alex Jones, but she doesn't have any of the capabilities that Alex Jones has.
Here's the thing is that Alex Jones will say they're all in the occult. They are all worshiping Satan. They are all Satanists. And then, you know what he comes up with? I freaking went to Bohemian Grove myself with a camera, and I filmed them having a ritual to a big owl statue symbolizing Moloch.
I mean, as
Candace
an
doesn't
entertainer,
have that.
Well, and so Alex Jones is interesting because, I mean, fundamentally, he's kind of an entertainer, but like he's got, admittedly, a lot of stuff behind it. It's kind of like a different version of like James O'Keefe, sort of. Candace doesn't have any of that, but she kind of wants to pretend. I've seen some of her streams, and she kind of wants to pretend she's Alex Jones. She's kind of like just riffing like he does. And so, if there's anything that's kind of good that comes from it, other than the fact that yes, obviously, like the state has a pretty reasonable case. If there's a conspiracy, it's probably on the other end, you know. Maybe he's trying to protect his Antifa buddies who helped him set up the thing. Who knows? You know, like there could be a bunch of different people helping him out. Yeah, he could be been groomed by the feds through Discord, my lord. You know, that probably happens a lot. But the whole thing is that Candace Owens is just an entertainer. I'm sorry to tell everyone who loves Candace Jones and says she's smart or like she tells you important. She's just an entertainer, and she has nothing. Like, she's just an entertainer. And I think the real letdown was Andrew getting there and then realizing This woman's just an entertainer. It's like Jon Stewart. It would be like you have a debate with Jon Stewart. You know, like, 'cause at least in the Daily Show, they're like, they say it's fake news. But like, it would be like debating Jon Stewart. That's what I realized. Like, yeah, she's just going to back off from everything. She's not going to endure any questioning because none of it's serious at all, really. It's just BS. It's always been. And so that's sort of the embarrassing part. Is like you go to fight the other boxer, and it turns out he's just a freaking clown. So,
Well, you know, I think with the 300,000 offer, I don't think it was a chicken game he got sucked into. I think from his perspective, he's expecting to get more debates out of this, and since he's already got Candace, that there's no evidence for the French Foreign Legion and Israeli involvement, that's going to make all the other Zergs online that have been pushing the same like mystery theater.
They're going to want to debate him.
They're going to want to debate him too. So if that's the thing, then well, you know what? Then it's an investment that pays off with all of these other big influencers, like, you know, I don't know, like a Jake Shields type. I would think of like an obvious example. Or these types of individuals might step up and say, "Oh, well, you know what? Well, yeah." Exactly. No, I agree. He's got the CTE brain, but these types of people want to step up and do like a debate too now.
It's kind of like how when you guys started debating, Protestants, you know, there's a guy that called up earlier trying to debate you on Sola Scriptura. Like, everyone now wants to come at you, dude. And I mean, it's such a great thing in a way, because the best part is Sola Scriptura doesn't exist. It's like impossible. So like, I mean, you know, so it's just a great. I guess this is going to be a thing where maybe Andrew Wilson's his long-term strategy is to just destroy as many of these people in an entertaining way as possible. Maybe that's his long-term strategy, and he had to take a little bit of an L here, paying all the money to get the thing started. So I don't know. Or maybe they'll just flip it out of context and, like, you know, circle wag and say that they won. So I don't know.
Well, I don't think necessarily that he took the L. I think Candace ended up debating better than I expected her to, and probably better than he expected her to as well. But I think on the actual substance, he did better. Clips wise, she did better. But I think the goal ultimately is to try to put an end to the constant flood the zone content slop that has been going around circulating the Charlie Kirk event. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to get these people to debate. And none of these people have been willing to debate their positions because they know it's speculation. So now that the dam's been broken, more of these people are going to come out, and they're going to unwittingly allow their theories to be pressed. Which is why when you see the people calling in that want to try to support their theories, even on this show, I don't believe we've had one single piece of positive evidence yet, Alex.
Nope.
Not one. So,
and I thought it was funny. I think someone brought this up. Where Bibi Netanyahu. I think I watched another video where they're talking about Bibi Netanyahu like seemingly preemptively defending Israel, but actually apparently someone accused Israel of being involved, and then Bibi Netanyahu was on some show, and the anchor was like, "So did Israel kill?" And Bibi Netanyahu was like, "What the?" It's like, I am not a Zionist. I dislike Israel, but look, man. Bibi Netanyahu can only commit so many of the crimes, okay? Like, you know, he can only be involved in so many of the crimes. So, I don't know. Can we just have good quality conspiracy theories, please?
Yeah.
Can they be of good quality?
If you want that, you have to go watch Alex Jones, top quality. Well, I think
exactly.
He's top quality, but if you follow him on X, he needs to lock in, dude. He's been chasing the ladies on. He's like he was commenting on
Wait, is he divorced now or something?
I don't know. Is he? He was commenting on like Rep Luna's post where she's like in like a tank top, like holding a gun. He's like, "Wowza, auga!" Like Alex, lock in.
What is with these guys, dude? Like, Like hold steady, bro. Like
You
it's
gotta
just
lock,
a chick.
lock in.
It's an e-girl, dude. Oh
He's
man.
gotta,
Well, Alex
he's
Jones
gotta
is kind
become
of
like
impulsive.
he's got to become like Rex. Rex became Orthodox. Alex Jones got to become Orthodox next,
Oh yeah, that'd
and
be
then he'll
cool.
lock in.
Yeah, it would lock in hard, brother. All right. Good talking to you, fellas. Hope to talk to you again.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
No problem.
All right, who do we have next? Justin CB in the backstage, bringing you up. Welcome
Hey,
to the
fellas.
show.
So
Thank you. God bless you all. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Sorry, I was doing dishes. Just going back to a relatively quiet room. I was just calling in for, I guess, the boomer take of the day, and that said, the internet is poison, and even the good stuff is just chemo. So I don't know. I've been watching all of this, and here and there, I have it on during work because I'm captive audience. And I'm starting to see Orthodox people starting to attack other Orthodox people, and you have to expect that. Like that's been going on throughout all history. But it's all based on political opinions at this point, which is ridiculous because we're all part of the same kingdom, the true kingdom. So it's kind of bothering me a little bit that it's getting to this point. I think that we need to log off our parishes, log on our local communities, because out of the
You're
local
breaking up.
communities, sorry,
You're breaking up. I couldn't hear what you were saying. You said log off and go be in your parish. Well, yeah, orthodoxy is definitely at the parish level. Politics and all this is ultimately a secondary issue. Obviously, unless like your politics would converge into something that goes against the faith. For instance, you're like a Zionist, or you are you're like pushing for unaliving babies, or Skittles marriage, or whatever the case may be. But I think you're always going to have Orthodox people that disagree, especially on the on the right now with this particular situation. I think where it goes too far is where you have Orthodox people disavowing each other without even understanding the other person's perspective over politics. I think that's foolish. But people are going to do what they're going to do. It's the internet. It'll always be that way on the internet.
well, right, and that's my point. It will always be like that on the internet, and we're in a crisis of not having enough priests, not having enough deacons. Our church is growing. We don't have enough people taking care of it. I come from a church that just recently became a parish from being a mission. We're struggling for people. We're struggling with having enough time to take care of the parish, all the little things that need to be done. And I hear all these, and obviously, this is spread out over the whole world. So I know that even me talking about it is part of the problem because I'm fixating on a tiny minority of people, which is what's going on here too. So I understand that I'm reflecting the same thing that I'm critiquing. But like I said, I wanted to offer a boomerang that maybe these things aren't as important as we think. And like you said, there are things in politics that there's a hard line on. But whether or not this person was assassinated by tiny hat people or a lone gunman or anything like that, nothing to do with how we treat one another, nothing to do with truth even. Like at this point, there are so many billions of things that happen that no matter how much information comes out, there's going to be a lot that we don't know. So us even sitting here arguing about it, talking about it's fine. Like talking about it can be fun. And that's what conspiracy theories should be. It should be fun. Because it's all speculation. But, we start yelling at each other, calling people stupid, saying that we're shills and all of that kind of stuff. It's like, calm down, log off, help your parish. Because the crazy thing is, the more we spend time in our local communities, the more people will be built up to become the leaders that will actually change things. Like 75, 80, 90% of these people who are spouting off on the internet have so little influence that even if they are right, it won't change anything. So a better use of their time is to talk about their actual sphere of influence, which is their local community, build that up, and then maybe from that local community, something good will happen.
Sure.
But
I think it's good. It's good advice not to become emotionally attached to these particular issues. Don't make an idol out of your politics. Ultimately, the best political move is to make America holy, make America orthodox. And you're going to do that at the parish level. But also, I mean, the online sphere does have a way of pushing that. I think, a lot of people attack Andrew Wilson because he's a little crass. A lot of people will attack him for that, or they don't like that he trained the guys at TPUSA, even though he doesn't support Zionism. They still think, well, friend enemy distinction, he's done something good for them, so he must be my enemy, or whatever the case may be. But for as much negative as you could say about the guy, I know plenty of people who found out about orthodoxy through him, even though he doesn't even do theological discourse like that. They just know that he happens to be orthodox and does politics. So I think there is a role to be played in people that go online that happen to be orthodox and discuss other things, because not every single person that's going to be convinced of orthodoxy is going to be a Theo bro like me or Alex. You might have like I don't know, it's like a college age girl watches, say, like the Girls Gone Bible thing. Like a bunch of people were saying Father Josiah Trenum's wasting his time talking to these women. I don't think so. Their audience are all like college age women. And how are they going to be convinced of orthodoxy, or at least even get the interest to look into it for themselves, if they don't see people within their own sector entering into the church? So I think there is a role for these discussions, but I completely agree with you. Don't over emotionalize it. Don't make it an idol, and don't place it above the faith.
Right. I mean, even speaking to that though, like you're saying, it's like I think all these things are good too. But like I said, I consider it chemo. It's like the internet is great for introducing people to orthodoxy because it gives us a reach, but it's not live there. Like you have to get off chemo once the cancer's gone, right? But beyond that, it's like we see even what you're talking about with our saints, right? It's like we have saints like Saint Christopher, who when he talked to the abbot was like, I can't fast, I can't pray, what can I do? And so he put him by the river to have him escort people across. It's like we need those people who are ferrymen. We need the warriors like Saint George. We need the ascetics like Saint Paisios. Like, we have saints that represent every type of personality. They're all necessary. They're all needed. So when you come across someone that you don't like, instead of focusing on the things you don't like, start thinking about the saints that represent their personalities. And it's like, then okay, let them be. But you can't do that while you're fomenting fire hose amounts of information going into your face on the internet. You can only do that in prayer in front of your icons, helping your parish. So like I said, I don't want to take up your time, guys. I'm not contributing anything. You guys already know this. It's just like I said, I'm listening to people going back and forth, and it's just I'm an old guy. I may not look as old as I actually am. I have kids. I hear them listening to this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, look, it's okay in small doses, but like, go help people. Go actually help people. So.
There you go. Well, I think that's a good take. That's a good take. Yeah. Thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah. Of course. God bless you guys.
God bless you. All right. Candace Owens had a picture of a receipt. Same.
Yeah, still unverified. You don't know who it belongs to, or.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that was the steakhouse thing, right? She was trying to talk about
the card number is still redacted, and she's not confirmed that she's verified it with any.
I see so many people putting stuff out about this steakhouse. I saw somebody yesterday was trying to say there was like they were circulating an older video where it was like a person with no head, but a steakhouse uniform, and they were like, yes, he was definitely eating here. He was totally here. He was eating here. How do you know it was that particular location or whatever? It was just like a person with no head. And then you've also got people trying to push this type of stuff, but then you've got the statement from the actual steakhouse that said he wasn't here.
We have no evidence that he was here.
Like, we checked, he wasn't here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, Slav plays. You're usually pretty chill, but you're kind of crashing out in the comments. Do you want to come up and talk? So I feel like that's maybe more productive, and we can have a kind of chill chat about it. We don't have to get like nasty towards one another, even if we disagree. Samurai Shampoo, welcome to the show. By the way, guys, support the show. We're like only just now getting halfway past the goal. So send in a super chat and support the show.
Howdy, gentlemen.
What's up, dude? Welcome.
Hey, yeah, thank you guys so much. I actually had a question for you guys. You're no priests, but I know you'll do the best you can. That is relevant to the type of people what I see as the other side of online orthodoxy, like Slav, which is the piety signalers that tend to basically claim orthodoxy, but yet can't stop focusing on other people's shortcomings. And I'm a catechumen, so I'm genuinely asking this as a question, not as me knowing anything. It's kind of confusing because I know there should be a balance between, calling out our brothers for, failing and for falling short, and also trying to, remain focused on ourselves and our own sins and our own shortcomings. But if you look through the comments of, most of the online Orthodox streamers, it's just filled with this other side of online Orthodoxy that is a lot of piety signaling, a lot of this person's a terrible representation of Orthodoxy. It's like, well, yeah, I think we all are. But ultimately, like, what is you guys' take on that? Because there should be a balance somewhere in there, but I'm not sure what that looks like.
I mean, I've thought about this quite a bit, but I think it's just people, because you see the same thing with Roman Catholics. This person's not a good example of Roman Catholicism. You don't really see this with Protestants because they don't really identify as that. They just identify as their sect.
Yeah.
But you see this with Roman Catholicism, especially. They get like social media figures. They'll be like, Pine Saps, not a good example of Roman Catholicism. Or they'll say like, Fuentes is not a good example, or Taylor Marshall is not a good example, or who is that cheating girl? Sarah Stock. Sorry, she definitely ain't no good example. I would agree with them there. Okay, Sarah Stock, what she did was pretty foul. Lord of mercy. But anyway, you get the point. I think it's just a people thing. People want. They have this expectation that if you openly identify and you talk about your religion, you talk about your faith, you have to behave like a priest, or you have to meet this arbitrary standard that I've set in my head. I think this is just the way people operate, though.
Yeah, and I think the most frustrating thing about that other side of it is that they vehemently claim that the church is on their side, of things, that they are the representation. And it's like, has this very prideful air to it. I don't know. It's just something I noticed, but I'm not going to take up too much more time. Last thing to say is that anybody who thinks that Andrew did not completely eviscerate Candace Owens in that debate, they need to take a look at themselves, because you're making decisions based off of your fifis and not based off of any sort of facts whatsoever. It's pathetic. So.
Well, you gotta do the same thing you were just talking about. You're not a good representative of Orthodoxy.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't think my person won, you're bad. Or you're the good Orthodox are the ones that agree with me. The bad Orthodox are the ones that disagree with me. There you go.
It's like the the stabby stab. I am orthodoxy. I am the science. You know.
There you go. Well, I think
All right.
one thing to say on that
Yeah.
that you were talking about, like people piety signaling and saying like these people aren't good examples of yada yada yada. I think we got to realize, especially with dudes like Andrew, we could disagree with his takes, but to say that he's like a representative of orthodoxy, the guy doesn't even do theological discussions really. He did them for a brief time to jump in when JP Uncut was going bananas, but other than that, he really isn't like a dude.
But yeah,
that
and his
does
point
theology.
wasn't even a theological point. His point was to say that you guys are polemicists, not apologists, right? So
Correct.
even then, he wasn't trying to debate theology.
Yeah, anytime he actually takes a position on it, he makes a point to say that he's not a good representation, actually. And so, yeah, he's a political commentator that happens to be EO, and that doesn't mean that he's, you know, he's still held to a standard, but that, you know, not by us. You know?
Same with people like John Kiriakou. He just happens to be Orthodox, but he's
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
He's a
Yeah,
fed.
he's just like a commentator. But anyway, I appreciate you calling, man.
Hey, thank you guys.
Alex, you said you're gonna do a show. When are you gonna start?
Whenever you're done here.
Okay. You want to go maybe 30 and then I'll roll it over into your show?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Bitter Klinger, here's a $5. Thanks for the show. I give more, but I have an aversion to giving money to lawyers. Nice. All right. As soon as we're done here, I'll roll you all over into. Go ahead and set up your lobby, Alex. So I've got somewhere to send these people, and then in 30 minutes, Alex will start a show, and then I'll raid that one.
Yeah. All right. I'll leave you here to finish it out.
All right, man.
All right. See ya.
Hello. Oh, this guy's at a drive-through. This guy's at a drive-through. All right, we've got Jordan B. Welcome to the show, dude.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Welcome.
I can't hear you. I'll check it on my end.
Yeah, I think it's probably your end. Test. No. All right, call back in if you're able to get that sorted. All right, I do want to discuss the last thing that I had on the agenda, which was the Jesus and whatnot situation. So this has gotten pretty bad. The guy has been just viciously attacking Jay, making up all sorts of nonsense. Dealing with people like this is what makes apologetics tiresome, because they will just lie and lie and lie. They'll never concede that they're lying. But I think ultimately what he's going to end up doing is he's just going to end up destroying his own credibility. Now, multiple people have offered him debates. David Erhan's offered him a virtual debate on Filioque, which is what he wanted. Okay. Jay's offered him an in-person one. He's declined that. Alex has offered him an in-person one. He's declined that as well. I've offered him a virtual debate on Vatican II. He has ignored that completely. He says he's willing to entertain the David Erhan one, but he's not replying to any of the requests to set that up. So instead, what he's doing is he's publishing videos like this, and he's putting out videos that are like, let me see if I find this, Jesus and whatnot. This is the Noah kid. So he's putting out videos like this. Share my screen. Proving Jay Dyer is a liar, responding to the allegations. He's putting out videos like this, basically just slandering Jay, and then claiming, get this, he's trying to claim that he never used ChatGPT in a debate. This is literally what the Jesus and whatnot kid is trying to do. Keep in mind, the same guy, not even like we just watched clips on this last week where he is admitting to using AI in debates. He got caught, and then he confessed to it, and then he confessed to lying about it. So he's putting out videos trying to cover up his previous statement. But in this, at the same time, he's trying to say Jay is running from a debate with him. Jay's lying. Jay's dishonest. Jay's deceptive. Jay's all these things. He's trying to do a complete character assassination of Jay. And guess who's liking this? Surprise, surprise. God Logic. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, Mr. Neutral. Mr. Neutral himself, God Logic, is the one that is liking this post here. So you've got this kid going on a full-on character assassination campaign without accepting any of the debate offers. Without accepting any of the debate offers. And keep in mind, this is his whole shtick. He's trying to say, oh, they're running from debates. Meanwhile, he literally will not do any of them that are being offered. Jay actually offered him one recently, I think today. He offered him one today that was talking about well, let's see. He offered him a debate. Anyway, he offered him another like internet debate. And he basically ignored that. So check this out. I want to show you something. So this is from Jesus and Whatnot's video. This is one of his lies here.
No, he's saying, you can see in the second paragraph there, the reason is AI is too easily used in online debates or friends feeding you text arguments, etc. You have admitted to using AI in debates. Is this true? Is this something that I've done? Have I used AI to cheat in debates? No. Now, the scholar who I misquoted saying that he said this when really it was another scholar that said it, reached out, he called me out, and I made an apology video. And in that apology video, I told everyone that a friend had given me that quote. And that is where the mix-up came in. However, that was a lie. I received that quote from AI. That is the truth, is that it was an AI quote. Now, the quote was real, and I am rather certain that I did check my sources. No, he's saying, you can see in the second paragraph there, the reason is AI is too easily used in online debates or friends feeding you text arguments, etc. You have admitted to using.
So here you go. You got Jesus and Whatnot basically contradicting himself. So this was him saying, I've never cheated using AI. And then you have the clip here showing him where he admitted that he used AI in his debate with needgod.net. Not only did he use AI in that debate, but then he lied about it. And the lie was not uncovered until the scholar that he misquoted reached out to him and said, that's actually me. And this forced him to come out and make an apology. So he's trying to say, Jay's lying about me. Jay's doing this. Jay's doing that. He's trying to basically attack Jay's reputation, which is super odd because he was basically trying to pretend like he was like, oh, I'm just going to bury the hatchet and move on and do ABC 1, 2, 3. And then immediately he begins again with the character attacks. Now, what I don't understand about this guy is why he won't actually accept any of the debates people have offered him. David Erhan's offered him one. Jay's offered him. Like he said, look, I'll do this under these certain terms. If you accept, I'll do a virtual one with you. So I don't understand why he doesn't accept that. Or the one with David Erhan. He said, I won't do the in-person ones because I have this threat, the Muslim threat against me or something like that. Okay. You have the Muslim threat against you, but you're simultaneously like paying compliments to Orthodox Muslim, trying to say he beat Jay Dyer and all this stuff. It doesn't make any sense. He's claimed that he hasn't left his house since he received the threat, which is I don't know if I buy that. This kid seems to me, and this is my personal take, the more and more he keeps talking, the more it seems like he's just a serial liar. And he just has a really big problem with this. And that could be the case because he's very young. And with guys this young that are put in a position to do stuff like this, their egos are very fragile. So I can only imagine what being a 19-year-old and having an audience that's like, I don't even know how many followers on Instagram he has, like 800,000 or something. A lot. Like 800,000 on Instagram, I think. I can only imagine what the thought of losing that massive audience, or at least losing your the respect of that massive audience would do to you. But then at the same time, you should probably keep that in mind when you're challenging guys like Jay Dyer to a debate. They're gonna smoke you, dude. You're gonna lose either way. But I think that's part of the danger. Even Sam Shimon was commenting on this and saying this guy needs to step away. He's become an embarrassment for the Roman Catholics. He's not a good representation of Roman Catholicism. But unironically, I think this particular situation is going to work itself out because he's already established a pattern of behavior that's basically just lie, try to cover it up, lie some more, try to run optics campaigns, and it's becoming obvious. I can see it in his comments on his videos and on his Instagram. His own audience is starting to question his integrity. So, yeah, I don't know, man. People like to watch slop on Instagram. It's not too hard to grow there. If you've been doing it for any period of time and you have a good editing software, you can grow an audience relatively easy on Instagram. It's a lot harder to grow on YouTube. So there are people with 100,000 followers on Instagram that they try to start a YouTube channel and they can't break 2K. You know, I've seen it. Yeah, you can disagree with Andrew without throwing him under the bus. Absolutely. Yes, you can absolutely do that. But I feel like, orthodoxy does attract people who are conspiracy minded because we worked our way out of our previous worldview and system. We saw the gaps. So there's a lot of overlap with the people that question the official narrative in geopolitical events, people that end up coming into orthodoxy. So I think there's a lot of overlap there. But what ends up becoming an issue is when you make your like pet theory your idol. Like, this is the line of delineation. You disagree with my pet theory, I'm going to disown you. I think that's where things get sticky. We can have discussions on stuff that we disagree on. Like, we just had several people that disagreed with us, and only the first guy was like turbo spurging out. Everybody else is relatively chill. I mean, this is cordial, casual discussions. We don't have to cannibalize each other over a disagreement on theories, especially political theories. You're not going to be able to, no matter what, you're not going to be able to build a political utopia on Earth. So I wouldn't make that an idol. The ultimate goal should be to make America holy. That should be our main focus. But that doesn't mean politics aren't important. I think we can have discussions without cannibalizing one another. I think that's where it's good. We just got like bots spamming in the chat. Interesting. Just like Candace bots. Yeah, he tried to call in under a fake account to get a gotcha clip on Jay, and the consequences, he's been totally humbled and exposed as a liar and a coward. Absolutely. Yep, 100%. Well, I think it didn't go the way optically like he was thinking. Because you can do that with a guy like Dean Withers. You can do that with like an atheist. You can do that with a leftist. You could do that with any of these other guys. You can't really do that with a dude like Jay, because they're going to be able to come back. They're not afraid to debate you. They're going to call you on your bluff. They're going to challenge you to a formal debate. So you're either going to have to come to the table or run. And he chose to run and do an optics campaign, and that's not working out for him too well. So honestly, I've been thinking about this. FPV, just a heads up. I know you're in the backstage. I only have a couple of minutes before I got to wrap up and send everybody to Alex. So call in next time and I'll bring you up, dude. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap up with this last story and send everybody over to Alex's show. But I appreciate everybody that did do call-ins. I'll have to do more like this. If you want me to do more call-in shows like this, support the show, send in super chats, help us hit the goal. This one, we're only at like 16 out of 30, which is super low. I think maybe because we're streaming at the same time as somebody else. So it is what it is. But I think he was saying he never used AI in a debate like Metaglass's style. No, he did use it. He used it in his debate with Need God. He absolutely did. He was trying to get citations in the middle of the debate. Not that he never used it for citation. It's the same thing. It's not for preparation. He did that in the middle of the debate. What meaningful distinction would that make, though? What meaningful distinction would that make? That would be a really slimy way to weasel out of that accusation. Oh, I didn't use it in the middle of the debate. I used it before the debate. That would be a really weaselly way to try to squirm out of that. The reason I think it's bots that support Candace or liberals worldwide is because TPUSA events still seem to be massive, just not the internet stuff. Maybe. There are also anti-Candy bots in her chat. In Candace Owen's chat? I mean, there's going to be Zio bots or whatever. Candace Owen's chat is very suspect, though. It moves very slow. I think her live viewership is botted because she had 100 or 200 something thousand live viewers, and it was moving slower than my chat does when I have 1,400 consecutive watching. So they definitely bought their live viewership, and she's got more live viewership number wise than any other internet figure I've ever seen. At an unbelievable number for having a chat that slow. So I do think her live viewership at least is botted. Whether or not she does strike me as a type of person that would care about the optics campaign after a debate. So it doesn't surprise me, or it wouldn't surprise me rather, if the videos that are coming out in opposition to her would be flooded with bots. Or alts by her team, right? That wouldn't surprise me. She seems very cutthroat in meta like that. Because she's had to go up against Daily Wire. I mean, that was her former employer. So she had to one up Daily Wire. So how do you do that? I mean, politics in general, with people in it at that deep of a level, you do kind of have to be a little cutthroat to be able to get ahead. That's why so many people quit politics, because the people who were your allies turn against you. Everybody's an opportunist. Everybody, the nature of these things is you have to be cutthroat in order to get ahead. So if that's the environment that's fostered, it's no wonder people are leaving the politics sphere, the political sphere. They're quitting, they're resigning. Yeah, she learned a few tactics from Ben Shapiro. Absolutely. Candace always has been sketchy. She's still lying about social autopsy. Well, she's always been super sketchy from day one. Yeah. Jay's ex recently has been, come debate, dude, and of course no one does. Yeah. Well, nobody. Yeah, I don't know why. That's interesting. I'd be surprised if she had more live viewers than Andrew. I doubt she had more than 30K real viewers during debate. I would say she's probably about as popular as Hassan. I think they're probably, like, her live viewership might actually be 30K. I don't know if Hassan bots, though. Hassan might also bot, because it could be like the pot calling the kettle black. Because if you see how fast their chat's going, my chat goes that fast when I've got 1,400 people watching live at the same time. And I'm way too retarded to bot. When I've got 1,400 people watching at the same time, my chat goes about as fast as like Hassan's in that clip. So that makes me think they're both botting. Oh yeah, dude. Well, the one short that I had that went viral, the comments on there are like absolutely insane, dude. That's why I was just like, you guys just call in. So you guys are just spamming nonsense. Hold on. Let me go to the comment section of this. I'm going to go to newest. Okay, here you go. So I'm going to read you the comments from this insane comment section. By the way, this video got 200 and how many?
Public apology.
I don't know. It got like 260,000 views or something like that. Anyway, so it got a lot of comments. They're trying to make Candace look crazy because everyone knows Israel killed Charlie and our government is complicit. It's a non sequitur. What do you mean? Candace being insane wouldn't necessarily disprove this. And she's not the only one saying that. Doesn't make any sense. Andrew Wilson nearly is a bot and paid for. Almost. Not quite. What do you mean nearly is a bot and paid for? Thanks, YouTube. Andrew sucks. I want to see the white supremacy fallacy myth is definitely on its last leg. This reads like a bot comment, like it's just AI put out slop. You dudes pathetic. You dudes are pathetic, impotent. No, this is just a crazy guy. You dudes are a pathetic, impotent, puny little clowns. She mopped the floor with your little gingivitis mouth mascot with her pinky finger while pregnant. And she got $300,000 richer for doing it. Just L after L. I wouldn't be surprised if one of you little, good grief, like your little orange president did it wrong, tough guys. That's right. Your little gingivitis mouth with a pinky finger while pregnant, my queen, dude. You guys talking a lot of smack. You guys talking a lot of smack, gingivitis looking, freckle head having. Sheesh. That's right. Y'all got some gingivitis, dog. Read your comments. You're getting creamed. I am reading my comments. Call in, guys. Call in. It's crazy. Next time. I'm about to wrap up. Why you acting like what she talk about isn't government documents? Why you acting like Charlie Kirk being a time traveling Sumerian princess ain't government documents, dude? She's talking about that project Looking Glass, which is a real thing, by the way. But that doesn't imply they used it to go spy on Charlie Kirk in the future and this somehow has relevance to the case. Dog. Why you talk about what she talk about isn't government documents. And I don't think it doesn't actually work. They weren't actually time traveling, dude. Like, what? Oh, my goodness, bro. So you saying she crazy because she talk about CIA projects? Why not go to the root, which is the CIA? Go ask them. Go ask the CIA. Why question her mental state for citing this? All right, I'll do that. I'll go write the CIA immediately. This is what I'll do. Must have been a big check. Yes, BB wrote me $7,000 to make this short. Yeah. Yeah, it's just nuts. Hold on. So you and Andrew are together now? Cute couple. So you say somebody did well in a debate. That means you're just an Andrew shill, even though I was critical of him in the Trump debate. This was CIA with psychic remote viewers. It's legitimate. It's real. Your ignorance is not an argument. So you believe Charlie Kirk, that they remote viewed into the future to see Charlie Kirk and predict the unaliving event. You guys are absolutely insane. What's the issue? That Candace is saying this is tied into the Kirk event. This is clearly AI. This is clearly. My queen Candace would never say something this crazy. You lying filthy cleave. You dirty stinking lying ortho bro. My queen would never betray me by being this insane. She would never do it. This has to be AI. Yeah. Calling everything a conspiracy theory isn't an argument anymore. There's no way you can even claim people are crazy anymore. So no one's crazy now. There are 0 crazy people in the entire world now. This is the state we're in. Everybody's so psychotic. There are zero. There's no barometer for being crazy. So just listen to everything. Everything is wacko. We've lived through fake terrorist attacks, 9/11, COVID, drug wars created by your own government. I'm not denying that there are conspiracy theories, but this is a really stupid one. Anyway. Oh, no. Take clips out of this is the context. Actually, the context makes it worse. Anyway. You worship Andrew Wilson. Well, that would be a good thing to call in and discuss. At least you'd have something to bite on until we can stop pretending it's a 30-06. That would be something to actually discuss. See? This person's actually making a claim. We could discuss that. But anyway, you get the point. This is AI. Yeah. This is real. Look at the CIA documents. They really did time travel. Oh, she was just being sarcastic. Yes. Okay. 7K shekels. So true. So true. Bibi sent me $7,000. Bibi Netanyahu sent me $7,000 immediately. Don't forget the bees. Yeah, for real. Good grief. Send me $7,000, Bibi, please. I'm begging you. All right. So I had this debate idea. I know the Noah, Jesus, and whatnot kid would not actually go for it. But I've thought about this. And this would be an amazing prompt if there was a big enough name Roman Catholic that would do this. I would debate the prompt. The Roman Catholic Church is more gay than the PCUSA. I would debate that prompt. The Roman Catholic Church is more gay than the PCUSA. I would take that position. I would do that. I will defend Redeem Zoomer's honor against the Roman Catholics. I would debate Jesus and whatnot, the Noah kid. I challenge you, Noah. Debate me. The Roman Catholic Church is more gay than the PCUSA. I will take that debate. You're running. Why won't you debate me on this? Straight up. I would do that. I would debate that. The Roman Catholic Church is more gay. That's not even just a claim. I have actual evidence to back up my assertion, but I would do that debate. I would do it. We could do it at Modern Day Debate or whatever, but that prompt specifically. And I would win. I guarantee it. I would win that. I would win that debate. Trash versus garbage. 2v2 with Redeem Zoomer. Good grief. I don't know if optically that would be good if I teamed up with Redeem Zoomer on that one. But I will go forth. I'll go forth as his champion. As his champion to defend his honor. Okay. I'll go forth and I'll do this. Oh, that's true. Well, it could just be hosted on their channel or something. They could moderate it. There you go. That would be a hilarious debate. I would love to do that. And I've got all sorts of evidence to back up my claim. Yeah. The Muslims have a fatwa on him. Well, just like The Protestants, they give me death threats. Like, I get death threats from Protestants. Now I can't go anywhere where there's a Protestant. They might hurt me. I don't know, man. I'm sympathetic to the, I'm sympathetic, but at the same time, Inspiring Philosophy, he just had to do a whole GoFundMe to like get a new house, and he's still out here doing public debates and stuff. Like, same thing with who else? I think David Wood claimed this at one point. Apostate Prophet claim. All these guys do a GoFundMe because they're getting threats or whatever, and then they all go and they do public events. It's just this one guy. That's his pet excuse to not go to a public event. Well, you said for 6 months. So what about after that time? I don't know. But granted, that's not even a good excuse because people offered him virtual stuff. You know what I mean? Offered him a virtual debate. Yeah. Who would be the opponent? I would debate Jesus and whatnot, the Noah kid. I would debate him on that. Or yeah, Trent Doherty. Oh man, a round 2 Trent Doherty debate would be nuts. Cleve and Redeem Zoomer versus Jesus and whatnot and Sam Shimon, or Catholic Sam. You probably mean Catholic Sam, not Sam Shimon. I wouldn't want to debate against Sam Shimon at this point. I feel like he would actually genuinely get upset at me if I did that. But probably Catholic Sam. Yeah, Catholic Sam. Okay. Catholic Sam was like, he left the internet. Cleve and Redeem versus Jesus and whatnot and Catholic Sam. The couples battle everyone wants to see, which every team wins, gets all the super chats, and the others have to kiss. That's gay. Never. Look, I don't know what's up with all the young Catholic streamers and doing like gay stuff all the time. It's crazy. Yeah, threats stop being valid. Yeah, they have a timer. Yeah, exactly. Trent Doherty is unhinged. But he was a good lol cow. I don't understand. So God Logic won't debate anybody on his version of Christianity. I understand him running from Jay. I get that. It would be like coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb. But why wouldn't he just like do a conversation or a debate with like a chud? Like just like one of the lower tier ortho debaters. Heck, I would do it. I would have a conversation or a debate with God Logic on his positions. I mean, I would mop the floor with him, but I would do it. I would have a conversation with God Logic. I invited Inspiring Philosophy on to discuss his Sola Scriptura tweet. Oh, hey, the Bob the Builder guy, that Bob the Builder ecumenist dude. He said that he would have a conversation with me on somebody else's channel on ecumenism. So that might happen at some point. That would be interesting. So that would be an interesting discussion if he does that. The Bob the Builder guy. I want to see Orthodox Shahada debate with David Wood. That'd be interesting. I think David Wood's more like a slop debater, though. I like Bob. Don't hurt my guy. Well, I asked him, I said, do you want it to be a debate or a discussion? If he just wants a casual discussion, then I'll just provide him with the sources that show why we're not ecumenists. If he wants a debate, it'll be a little more back and forth. But anyway. All right, let me see if Alex set up his stream. Alex Soren. There you go. All right. I'm sending y'all over to, oh, wait. Do you have any advice for me? I'm going into my sophomore year. Advice about what? What kind of advice? How to be a high schooler? Yeah, I'll have to break him out of jail. Debate that guy. What would I debate him on? Why he's an idiot for doing that? So stupid, dude. What did you think was going to happen? Yeah, there you go. Be more orthodox. That's my advice to you. Be way more orthodox. Be way more orthodox. Lift weights. Lift weights. Pay attention in school. Go to church. Pray. Do your prayers, your morning and your evening prayers. There you go. That's all my advice for you. Focus on getting through school and not getting in trouble. And try to figure out what you want to do. You're not going to know. So figure out what placeholder degree. If you don't know what you're going to do, figure out what placeholder degree you want to get. Business management's always easy. So you could just like go into whatever you want. Oh, I'm interested in tech. Okay, you could be a manager in tech. Oh, I'm interested in like vet stuff. Okay, well, you could be like a manager for like, whatever. Oh, I'm interested in, whatever. You just kind of do what you want. All right, y'all. No, AC is not fixed yet. It's completely broken. It's 91 degrees in the house. All right, y'all. I'm done. See you later. I will be streaming tomorrow again. I think 5:30. I'll announce it tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to do call-ins, but we'll see. This was kind of like a little tester here. But we'll see what I end up doing. I appreciate you all tuning in. See you over on Alex's show.